I can't help but be racist. It's true.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
That's a huge bitch. Let's go! Yeah!
I would like to rear up and jackknife my legs and kick you both with my foot bone. Everybody hates you, and I'm glad your husband died. He probably killed himself.
I'd love to get like a sex worker who's a gamer.
In a dream I could see you are not far away. Anytime, any place, I can see your face. You're that special one that I've been waiting for. And I hope you're looking for someone. dreams. I can hear you calling me in the night. Everything is so sweet in your eyes. I feel there's so much inside. Oh yeah. In the night, dream delight. I want to see you standing there.
All right.
Dream delight.
Now, if you didn't know, now you know that is from the Sega Saturn Nights into Dreams Christmas soundtrack. It's absolutely true. I wouldn't lie to you.
No offense, David Jaffe, but that's bullshit.
It's not. It's the real thing. Welcome, my delightful delinquents. It is so very nice to see you guys. Thank you for spending some time and hanging out with me. It is the 18th of December. As you can tell from the background, we've got the green screen all decorated for the Christmas season. When's Hanukkah this year? I used to celebrate Hanukkah when I was a kid. I was raised Jewish. Let me tell you. Well, I'll tell you that at tomorrow's show. But we did do the menorah and all that stuff. I'll just tell you now. So we're sitting there at the table. So we celebrated Christmas at my aunt's because my mom was raised Christian. She was Southern Baptist. Woo-hoo. And my dad was Jewish, and he raised us Jewish with my mom, but, you know, it is what it is. I ended up just walking away from the whole thing. I thought religion's silly. But anyway, every Hanukkah, you know, we'd get 8 nights of presents. That was a lot of fun. And, you know, we'd eat dinner, and we'd light the menorah. And then somewhere around 5-10 minutes after that, we'd hear a knock at the door. And that was the Hanukkah man. Now, none of my friends, Jewish, Christian, or otherwise, knew what the fuck we were talking about when we said we can't wait for the goddamn Hanukkah man. They're like, what the fuck is the Hanukkah man? And then we'd run to the door, we'd open the door, and suddenly there were presents in the house. My dad had obviously hidden the presents before dinner, but we didn't know that. So for the longest time, the idea was that was the Hanukkah man knocking, which all it was my dad hitting it under the table. And that's how we got our presents. I don't know what to tell you, but I believed it for a long goddamn time. I also believed compliments of my dad that the traffic lights in the city had little monkeys inside of them. And he would say that's how the traffic lights work. And it took me a long time to realize he was a liar. It was very depressing when I was at college and they actually had a course and they took a traffic light apart. And I'm like, we're going to see a monkey today. And they're just like, we have no idea how you got inside this class, let alone got accepted to the university. But it happened. Welcome to the show. It's good to see everybody. Today we are going to be talking about some Xbox drama when it comes to pretty much them getting out of the console business. We're going to be talking about the worst speech at the Game Awards this year. We're going to be talking, somebody sent me, I have a channel up now on the Discord. It says, Jaffe, look at this. I think it's called Damn It, Look Jaffe. And people say, Jaffe, I'd like you to respond to things. And they sent me another Asmongold video, and they said, can you respond to this video of him laying into Lego Horizon? I haven't watched it. Whenever I say I'm going to respond, I watch it fresh with you guys. Somebody wrote me, they said, you're only responding to Asmongold videos because it gets you views. And I'm like, I know. What was your question? I mean, I'm doing it because this guy asked, and he's part of our Discord community. But I'm just kind of like, well, yeah. Do you think I'd respond to the guy that reads kind of the energy thing outside that clicks around just because? Of course. All right. Anyway, point is, was John the Baptist popular in your family? I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Okay. Listen though. I also did an interview with Kajina, who's in the chat right now today. And she's got a channel on the YouTube. She started to do a bunch of interviews. I don't know when that'll be edited. That was fun. I was supposed to call her because I wanted her to come on this show. But now she's going to make an excuse like, you never called me. I'm like, I was busy planning the show. Just call in, you moron. Come on, man. Okay, but let's move forward, whatever. I do want to address one thing briefly because I've gotten a number of people asking about this from a tweet I did, and this is not video game related, and I apologize, but everything else in today's show will absolutely be video game related. But I tweeted out earlier, I said, hey, if you are in New York or New Jersey, I said, look, I don't want to freak you out, and I'm wrong about a lot of things, but if I'm living in the goddamn New Jersey, New York area, I would probably get my family and get the fuck out of there for Christmas and for New Year's. And I know I'm not trying to scare anybody, and I don't have any inside skinny, but I literally think what's going on with the drones. It's not a drone show. We're going to get into video games very quickly. I just want to be clear. I think what's going on with the drones, it's not tracking. People are like, well, I listen to Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan says it can't be nukes. Okay, fine. Here's what's happening, okay? Let me walk you through this. I don't know what's happening, and I would like to think it's not nukes or radioactive material. Right? I would love to think that, and it probably isn't. But the idea that you are clearly talking about very sensitive, classified drones, and you're applying what you think you know drones can do and detecting nuke material how it has to happen, you're applying, known technologies. The government's working probably 10 years ahead of everybody else, okay? So I don't really buy the fact that it's not possible to detect nukes from, 1,000 feet in the air. But hey, I don't know, but most people watching this stream don't know either, okay? But that's not even the big one. Here's the big one that bothers me, is this. Yesterday, Biden came out and said, don't worry, these are all mancraft, they're commercial drones, everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. Okay, I guess. And then right after, the CIA, FBI, Department of Homeland Security, and Department of Defense met with members of the House Intelligence Committee for a classified briefing about unidentified aircrafts that have been reported in multiple states. So all I'm fucking saying is, okay, well, if there's nothing to be worried about, why are they having these fucking classified issues? Why are they having these meetings with these people? And then when these people come out of the classified meetings, they can't tell you what they heard, but here's what they said. I was not satisfied with the information we got, says Congressman Scott Perry. In some cases, we had more information than they did. That's concerning. Democratic Representative Raja Krishnamoorthy added that he was not yet satisfied, that he wanted to see data on how the government knows drones are manned aircraft. Basically, the government officials said that what was explained as manned aircraft. It's consistent with their statement. What I say is they have to be very forthcoming in explaining how the data shows this. Senator Josh Hawley, who I can't stand, says they will not brief us. They will not level with us. The fact that they're saying, said Bellevue Mayor Michael Melham, that there's nothing to see here, and yet the very next day having a classified intelligence briefing about it, you can't have it both ways. So again, it doesn't matter. Matthew says, Jaffe, you have to watch the video I put in the Discord, bro. The guy's a real journalist. He's written a book on nukes. Fantastic. I don't care. I'm not suggesting to you that what he's writing is wrong and he's an expert in his views and knowledge of nukes and whatnot, and detecting nukes is not an accurate thing. Of course, I'm sure it is. He knows hell more than I do. I'm saying, though, that this, whether it's nukes or whether it is a poison gas attack or whatever it may be that they're searching for, it doesn't make sense that they tell us, don't worry about it, there's nothing going on, and then they show up and tell Congress, or at least a high-ranking committee at Congress, we have some classified shit to tell you about what's going on. It's a little weird to me. So all I'm saying is I hope it's nothing. Or I hope it's aliens. That would be great. I don't think it's aliens. But all these people that are going around going, dude, it's all been debunked. It's just airplanes. It's just airplanes and commercial drones. People are losing their minds over this. Again, I would be agreeing with you. If they didn't turn around, if Biden had come out and said, guys, we get it. We know it's a little scary, but look, yeah, we're running some classified shit in the area, but probably most of what you guys are seeing is everything from actual legal drones to small manned aircraft to planets, literally, right? And don't worry about it. I would be cool. But the fact that then they turn around less than 24 hours and say, Congress, we got to have a classified meeting about what the fuck this shit is. I start to get, sorry. I get a little bit suspicious. So anyway, I wanted to mention that because I know people were asking me on Twitter. I figured at the top of the show we could deal with it. Now let's move on to video games. That would be great. Oh, by the way, Lunch with Jaffe's coming up tomorrow, Thursday, 12:30 in the Discord room. It is for members, all mods on both channels, meaning here and on Discord. It is also for Cult of Calypso members and God of War members. Bring your lunch. We'll watch videos, play some games, hang out. It's about a 75-minute show. We just shoot the shit and hang out. It's exactly what it sounds like. Also, Monday, 10 a.m. California time. Good Sir Victor Lucas of Electric Playground is going to be joining me. He may be streaming it on his channel as well. I don't know. And we are going to do a deep dive into what we both consider, well, he considers it his game of the year. It may be my game of the year too. I need to finish it in prep for this, and I'll let you know. But we are going to dive into this. We are going to be talking about the gameplay, the plot, the franchise. We're gonna go, we're gonna go into it, baby. I'm very much looking forward to this. I love this fucking game. I cannot wait to stop and chat with you guys about it on Sunday. Yeah, that's not gonna happen because it's on Monday at 10 a.m. Okay, all right. I still think Joker says regarding the drones. They want to see how we're reacting to understanding moving of information. Maybe. I mean, all of these things are possible, sure. I'm glad indie's getting good reviews. Always wanted a good indie game, says John Burnett. Yeah, oh, fuck yeah, me too, man. I mean, there have been some decent ones, but this one is, all I will tell you is, I absolutely, this was my childhood hero. This is my favorite movie of all time, Raiders, and this is the best sequel to Raiders ever. It is a proper Raiders of the Lost Ark sequel. It feels like Raiders of the Lost Ark literally picks up, or Great Circle picks up where Indy leaves off. And if it was a movie, you wouldn't know any different. You'd think it had been directed by Spielberg. It would have Harrison Ford. They get it. It's absolutely perfection. So we'll be talking about that with Vic on Monday. Okay. Game of the year. The past 10 winners. If you are a member right now on this channel at any level, be it on YouTube or Patreon, over on the community tab on both of those places, there is a link. I sent it out earlier today. There is a link to a Google form that basically asks the question, out of all of the Game of the Year past 10 winners, which one do you feel personally is your game of the decade? Which one did you enjoy the most? Not about what you think moved the industry forward. Which one do you love the most? Okay. That is, we're going to be revealing those results later in the show. So you have some time right now. If you are a member, go over to YouTube or Patreon, click the link, and you can vote on this. I'll leave it up after the show. So if you're watching after the fact, you can go over there and affect the score. But I'll read you where we're at towards the end of the show later. Right now, just so you know, if you're just listening, 2015 gave us The Witcher, 2016 Overwatch, 2017 Zelda Breath of the Wild, 2018 God of War, 2019 Sekiro, 2020 Last of Us Part 2, 2021 It Takes Two, 2022 Elden Ring, 2023 Baldur's Gate, and then this year 2024 Astrobot. So again, these are all the games that got the trophy, best game, game of the year, and now we're curious about which one of these 10 is the very best game, the game of the last 10 years. That's what I am curious about. So go on over when you get a minute and vote if you haven't already. Let's look at this. Let's talk about Xbox for a little bit. Again, don't forget, a little bit later in the show, we'll be doing some responses to Asmongold's new video. We'll also be looking at the absolute worst speech ever, in my opinion, to be given at the Game Awards. In fact, I would say it's a dangerous, unhealthy speech. Where do you vote? If you go to the community tabs, the community post in YouTube, there will be a link. The first thing that's posted under the community tab is a thing about me explaining this. And there's a link that'll take you over to Google Forms. Okay. So this right here that you're looking at is, this is south of midnight. God damn it. That's the wrong image. Let me change this for you so you can see it better. This is south of midnight. My gut tells me this is going to be coming out in, when's this going to be coming out? I have a feeling this is going to be coming out in March, but I don't really know that. I'm just guessing. The team Compulsion has been releasing the last couple weeks these little 10-second clips, and this is their latest. I was surprised to see some people bitching about the stop motion-y look. I don't see it. I'm an old man. Maybe my eyes can't track it, but clearly some people don't like how it looks like stop motion. I think that's the coolest fucking thing in the world. I've been led to believe, I don't know if this is true or just wishful thinking on the part of the internet, that you can turn that off if you don't like it. But regardless, this clip has been impressive for a lot of people. I got to tell you, I watched the deep dive into this that Microsoft put out. I watched it with members a couple of weeks back. I am very excited for this game. Now, I'm curious about a couple of things. One is sort of the combat, in the sense that I know there are some people online, these kind of hardcore video game aficionado fighting guys that are into Devil May Cry and Ninja Gaiden, and they're kind of going, this is shit, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it is, but I don't think that's this kind of game. I don't know if they make up the majority of the AAA audience now. I know they certainly never did. Like when we made God of War, we looked at Devil May Cry and we were like, okay, they do a lot of great things, but the audience is a very, very, very vocal minority. None of those games ever sold like mega huge amounts of copies because they were very specialized for people that really like that technique-based combat, just like Ninja Gaiden. So I don't know if that's changed in terms of the people who buy AAA, but I look at this and I go, I think this is one of those games where all of the sum is greater than the individual parts, in that I think the story sounds cool, the setting, the character, kind of just the sense of Southern Gothic horror, and I think the combat looks more than passable. It looks a lot of fun. It looks dramatic. I also wonder if you're going to start to see less people complaining about it now, because we pretty much know that this is going to be... Hang on. We pretty much know that this is going to be coming to PlayStation at this point. So I want to let you know what the news is there. But this was happening the last couple of days. We've got basically this guy. I don't know who he is, but I'll get into more reputable people. He may be reputable too. Nick Shapasaw. He does a lot of this stuff, I think. It says, I was given code names for 3 unannounced games due next year. Basically meaning that these are all going to end up being on PlayStation. Somebody asked, and then Jez Corden, who has a lot of information, writes for Windows Central, said, Xbox won't have exclusives going forward. Everything is timed exclusive at most. So I wonder if people will start being you'll start seeing a more realistic response to these games, because a lot of it maybe has just been Sony hate over the years. But not Sony hate, Xbox hate over the years. But I think if you're a PlayStation gamer at this point, Fable, Doom, South of Midnight, Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, this is fucking amazing to me. I hope it happens. But the rumor is, though, especially kind of coming off the heels of this speech that Satya Nadella, the CEO, said. He pretty much said, let's take the joy of gaming everywhere. I'm sure you guys saw this going around yesterday. And that's why even these ads with Xbox, we are redefining what it means to be an Xbox fan. It's about being able to enjoy Xbox on all your devices. And more importantly, I think in the long term as a company, we can bring the best of AI, cloud, console innovation, PC to build the best games that can be enjoyed by gamers everywhere. I agree. I think this is wonderful. There are a couple of interesting points. Jez says, to clarify, everybody likes Xbox everywhere. And it's true. It's so seamless. If, at least in my experience, it is so delightfully seamless where you can sit there and, like the other night, I was playing indie on GeForce. My son Calvin wanted to get on GeForce. I let him get on GeForce. I loaded it up, playing in the cloud on Xbox. It was exactly where I left off, right? So he says, everybody likes that. The reality, Xbox isn't everywhere. 99% of Xbox games are stuck on the consoles, Xbox consoles. The logical reaction, customers only ask Microsoft to try and maintain the viability of that ecosystem that it locked them into. I can understand that. I can understand how people would be frustrated with the fact that they have all this shit on their Xbox consoles, and they have all these discs, and very, very soon they're not going to be able to play them. I mean, Xbox has done a really good job, and I think they will continue to do so, of saying, if you bought that game and you own it, you can stream it. In fact, I think they're doing that now. They're saying that you can stream games from the cloud that you already own. They don't even have to be on Game Pass, right? So I know they're at least making an effort to say your library is not going to go, it's not going to become useless, although in terms of something to play the physical disc on, it probably will. But I mean, it's going to be really interesting because you guys know that I am a huge fan of the cloud, of cloud gaming. In fact, I'm looking at the chat right now. Jezebeli says she's been playing cloud gaming recently, and she's telling everybody now, converting people to that tech, because once you see the magic, it's impossible to go back. She says, Xbox is an app on my laptop and phone. I love the flexibility. Microsoft is going all in on the cloud. I want all their games on the cloud. Right. It's phenomenal. Not as good as GeForce, but it's phenomenal. But that's still, as much as I know that is coming, it's not going to be ubiquitous for this next generation of consoles. There's just simply no way. We're not there yet for enough people for it to make a difference. And at that point, I guess we're going to go into the next hardware with a PS6 and a Switch 2, and that's kind of it. Right? And I mean, that's interesting. I mean, what's great for PlayStation and probably Switch 2 owners is probably Game Pass is going to come to PlayStation, I imagine, because if the games are being built to run on PlayStation, there's nothing that would stop them now from being able to buy a subscription on PlayStation and play them locally on your PS5 and 6 and 4, depending, if you're streaming it. Obviously, Sony would make money off every subscription, so it's a win-win for everybody. So it is a little weird to see them. They're still talking about this handheld. Maybe that'll happen. Maybe it won't. But I mean, why would you even buy, and the answer is you wouldn't, but why would they expect anyone to buy any Microsoft console or at this point? I don't think they do. Why would they? What do you mean Sony would never? Why would Sony never do that? Sony would do that in a heartbeat. If the hardware is gone and the games are already on their ecosystem, would Sony rather make $0 off me, or would they rather make 30% of my monthly Game Pass subscription? Because I still want to play on a console, so I can play their first party games without having to wait until they come to PC. Game Pass won't come to Nintendo. Nintendo only likes doing their own thing. Nintendo does all kinds of things with third parties. They're not saying put Mario on Game Pass. They're saying there's this subscription you can subscribe to on your Switch 2. Why not? Why would they not? Game Pass is the reason Xbox consoles and handhelds will exist. I don't agree with you, CS. Again, I'm not saying, if you follow the logic that they are basically saying we're putting these games everywhere, including PlayStation, which is their biggest competition, then why in the world would they say we won't also put the games on PlayStation? And I don't understand. I'm not following you there. Because Sony wants to sell their own subscription. They can sell their own subscription, but again, it costs them nothing to take 30% of what Microsoft gets. Now they can say no, but the number of people who are probably, at least Microsoft is probably counting, that will subscribe to Game Pass to play a handful of games if they own a console is probably a lot higher than maybe 1 or 2 people that will buy the actual games to play on the PS5. Anyway, I don't think I think they're out of hardware. I think they're done. And it doesn't, I mean, the biggest tragedy about this is the minute it starts to, the The minute it starts to finally become a real, consistent, viable product, meaning Game Pass, and they just walk away from the one thing they had that could have allowed them to actually potentially win the console war. I don't care either way. I just think it's fucking hilarious that it's like you finally did it, and now maybe it was like, yeah, but maybe Sachi is like, yeah, you did it, but it was way too late and we had to fucking pivot, and you should have done it 2 years ago, but you didn't. That's on you, Phil. Maybe that's what's going on. I have no idea. Ambient says there's still an audience for the super casual console gamers that prefer the couch experience that will never game on their home office screens. Yeah, of course. What does that have to do with anything we're talking about? Jezebel literally, she tweeted the other night, she's playing Indiana Jones sitting in her bed on her TV. She's not playing it on an office monitor. I don't understand. A lot of people confuse that. They think, they're not just familiar with sort of where it's at right now, I guess. Okay. An Xbox branded PC should be their next step, says Turtle. That's kind of what they're saying, though, with this handheld. They're pretty much, if you guys look at their PC, kind of their application or their thing that runs their games now, they're trying to make that a Steam competitor, and they're probably going to make it, compete with the Steam Deck. But it's like they're not going to not run their games on the Steam Deck, which means why would I buy that instead? I mean, they got to have a hell of a reason to switch from Steam Deck to their handheld, I suppose. I finished Indiana Jones, says Alex. I beat it. It's done, and I played it on my TV from GeForce. Now you can dig it, sucker. Right? How clearly it worked for you. You played the whole game on cloud. Great. But yeah, no one's saying there's not a casual audience that wants to game on the TV. I don't think that's ever going away. I think, of course, absolutely, of course. Let me get this wonderfully generous super chat going here. This is very, very nice and very, very generous. This is coming from Warped Eye. Warped Eye, thank you, good sir. Peter Brady. Thank you, good sir. He has gifted 5 Jaffe memberships. What's that mean for you? It means this Saturday, for example, is Pot and Popcorn double feature. If you are a Diet Soda Soldier, you can get in around 6:30 to watch the second movie. I don't know what the movies are yet. I'm going to talk to the membership and see what we want to pick. But that you can do. You can get into streams that are limited just to members. Thank you very, very much for that. I sure do appreciate that generosity, Warped Eye. Let me tell you who got him real quick, if I can find him. I don't know who got him. It kind of went off my screen. Well, 5 people got him, and I sure do appreciate you doing that, Warp. Thank you, buddy. Okay. Xbox will still have console exclusives. They won't. Only exclusives going to PlayStation are the ones that don't sell well. I mean, none of us know, we're all guessing, but if you look at the news, if you look at what Saty is saying, if you look at what Jez is saying, who writes for Windows Central, and he's right on this stuff way more often than he's not, I think it's very, very clear that they are getting out of Dodge and they are moving into Xbox everywhere. Why would they not? Brad says if Sony and Xbox get out of consoles, who tops the controller market? Who knows? I don't think Sony's going to get out this generation or next generation. They'll stay in until it doesn't make sense, just like you're still getting digital disk drive or digital hardware and digital hardware with disk drives. But the stuff that people said about digital never catching on has totally caught on, as many of us predicted it would. And it's the way it goes, man. It's going to be really fascinating. I love it, though. I mean, forget streaming for a minute. The fact that you've got, seriously, what world do we live? Xbox is now currently one of the very best game publishers on the planet. You cannot deny it. They are one of the very best game publishers on the planet. Not because Phil Spencer and Matt Booty necessarily, but because they have bought their way into that position. Doom, South of Midnight, Avowed, Outer Worlds, Fable, Microsoft Flight Sim, Call of Duty, Indiana Jones, Stalker 2, on and on and on and on. All of that. Now, if the rumors are to be believed, woohoo, you get it on PlayStation. How are you bitching about it? The only thing I would bitch about is if I was a PlayStation owner and PlayStation doesn't let them bring Game Pass to PlayStation. Because, good God, I'd be like, dude, come on. All the games run here. Hell, they let Ubisoft come there. Oh, shut up, Dystopia. What are you, 5th grade? You love Xbox. We get it. What are you, an idiot? You fucking moron. I can't stand people like that. I just can't stand them. But you know what, Jaffe? Remember the what we do in the shadows guy. That's this guy. Stay focused. Okay. Xbox did say that, Dr. Dinglenut. Sarah Bond said they're already working on a next-gen console. And I would say, no, they're not. I would say if they are, it's never coming out unless you're talking about the handheld that they're coming out with to compete with the, what's the goddamn thing called? The Steam Deck. There's absolutely no way in hell that Microsoft, I mean, why would you even come out with a new console at this point? What if you're putting your stuff everywhere? Why would I ever buy their system then? It makes zero sense to anybody. Daywalker says, well, Xbox ain't getting rid of the console. It's still a viable device to get people into Game Pass who want a native experience. Yeah, but so is PlayStation 5, which is where all their shit's coming to. So, you know, I'm sorry. We'll find out. We'll see. But I don't agree with you. I think Xbox is going the way of the dodo when it comes to hardware, but not Game Pass. Google Stadia says Brad was ahead of its time. The tech was really good. I'm thrilled they both said they were. They're not. It doesn't make sense. Ravno says Satya and Phil said they're making a new console. No, and I'm saying they're not. Why would they? They're putting everything on the competition. Why? Okay, answer me this then. Let's pretend you're right. Let's pretend they are making a new Game Pass, a new Xbox. And let's for the moment pretend that they are, as rumors suggest, going to bring everything pretty much to the competition's boxes that can run them. Why in the fucking world would anybody go, you know what, I'm going to drop $600 on the new Xbox versus going, Sony has the best first-party games in the world if you don't like the core gameplay stuff of Nintendo. I'll buy that, and I'll get to play all their shit as well from Xbox. Why would you make a console? The only way that works is if they say, well, we're doing it this generation, but next generation we're going to revert back to not everything is an Xbox. But come on, they're not doing that. This is their plan. This is their roadmap. I think it's clear. You may not like it. And that's fair, but I think it's clear. All depends on price and performance, says Still. Why are people buying a PC? Why not buy a PS5 that's cheaper? Well, because if you buy a PC, you're buying it for lots of other reasons, or you want the top of the line visual fidelity and you want to be able to update it. But you think Sony's not going to come out with a top of the line fidelity? I mean, there's not that big of a difference between the two boxes, really. Okay, K-Nub says, I will donate $100 if they don't make another console. Cool, screenshot it. But I'm not talking about one that is a handheld that plugs into the TV. I'm talking about a standalone box, like an Xbox Series X, the sequel. Okay. All right. Well, we'll find out together. But all you guys are telling me is you don't understand why they would get out of the console business. What you're not explaining is why then, if they are staying in the console business, would these guys continue to bring their biggest games or all their games to the competition? Explain that and you win. And I'll acquiesce, but you're not explaining it. Yeah, I agree with Jezebeli. Their marketing is clearly indicative of no new hardware. It seems like they're not. I mean, based on just reading the tea leaves that are available to all of us. Okay. Samium says, listen to AI Santa and focus on kindness. Dude, I could not get that guy to break. I tried, but I couldn't do it. Anyway, but there's the Xbox thing. Yeah, take a screenshot. I would love to know. How it... Yeah, Ravnu says libraries is why user libraries. They're not going to invest in a brand new console and the billions of dollars it takes to make it, research it, bring it to market, make exclusives, advertise, just so the audience that was never really that big compared to the competition is going to have a physical place to pull out their disc and play Blinks the Time Cat. They're just not. Raul, why? I don't understand what you're asking, Raul. Jaffe, if it's so great, why isn't PlayStation doing the same? Doing the same as what? I don't understand. Are you asking me if Game Pass is so great, why isn't Sony doing it? Because Sony doesn't have to do it. Xbox could not make the box work. They could not make the physical work. And they also probably look at it and go, you know what, let's go where the puck is headed. Let's skate where the puck is heading, which is all this is going to be in the cloud. So let's build all of that so when it happens, we are positioned, just like we were with Microsoft Live, by the way. Took Sony a generation and a half to catch up. But, you know. So people who bought digital and can't stream get ass fucked. Good public service, says Ravnos. Yes, if you bought digital and you can't stream, my assumption, though, is if you have Game Pass, well, yeah, no, you're right. If you bought a native Xbox One game and it's in your library, whether it's Game Pass or not, and you don't want to stream it, yeah, that's never going to run on PlayStation 5. So either get a PC or stream. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. That's going to happen. But it's going to happen with everybody. I mean, Jesus, you still playing DVDs and VHS tapes? Every fucking tech company does this over and over and over. That's how it works. Are you new here? I don't play VHS tapes. I don't play 8-track tapes. I don't play cassettes anymore. Well, my library. You know how popular DVDs were at their height? Hell of a lot more popular than Xbox was. Guess what the movie studios did? Gone. Come on now. You got to know that. You got to know that because we all lived it together. Give or take a handful of years. We were all there for it. So, all depends on the proposition and prices still. If they make a cheap box as a way to enter the gaming market like a cheap PC, yeah, maybe. They kind of tried that with the Xbox Series S, and it did okay. But if Microsoft gets Game Pass on PlayStation or Nintendo, I would agree. At the moment, Game Pass is exclusive. Oh, sure. I think this is going to go a long way. If you think Sony doesn't know the plan, Sony probably is going, hey, give us a great deal, more than 30%. We bring our shit to you guys, and we'll let us put Game Pass next generation on your box. I bet they'll do it. Ubisoft does it with Xbox. EA Play does it. I paid $20 to play all the new Ubisoft games. Yeah, Brad Skagg, I know, but you're in the minority. Your experience, you must know, is not the norm. He says, I still have a DVD and Blu-ray collection. Great. No one's saying you don't. No one's saying it's not important to you. I respect that. But the companies don't run on what the minority of the customer behavior is. They run on what the customers, based on their analytics, they think they're going to want. No, they're not, Morton Bob. Cassettes are selling better than you realize. No, they're not. Come on, man. Just be okay being wrong. Cassettes are not selling better than I realize. They are a niche product. They will never be anything more anymore than a niche product. And that's okay. And yes, there are people that like them. There are moments where the tech comes back into vogue and fashion, just like vinyls. I get it. But it's never going to be anywhere close to the dominant form of expressing the creative medium that these companies make ever again. And vinyl isn't either. Vinyl is great. I love seeing the records in Barnes & Noble. I fucking love it. I love the record players. I love the sound. I get it. And I know that there are little mom and pop shops and little boutique-y things, and that's great. But come on, don't try to convince anyone that that's like, oh, suddenly cassettes are back. Really? Yeah, GDN says Betamax is coming back. Come on now. Yeah, Mutmo says, yeah, they're selling only in our little nerd bubbles. It just appears like it's some sort of comeback. I don't care, Ravnos. Ravnos says, take a poll to see how many people in chat own DVD or Blu-ray or CDs. I don't care. If enough people still own Blu-rays or DVDs or CDs that mattered, guess what? Spotify wouldn't have a chance. No one's going, 99% of the music buying population, or at least 95, no one's buying fucking physical media. That's a different issue, Jose. Jose says removing the physical is a method of control that the woke globalist hive mind has, so we don't own anything. That may or may not be true. I'm sure it's not. They just want to make money. That may or may not be true, but it's got nothing to do with what we're talking about. Stone tablets are making a comeback, says Sky. Goddamn right. Okay. Yeah, the 40 million people that have purchased the consoles is what they would lose. Right. And they know that. You know, so what? How big was the DVD market? You know, come on. Why would Xbox stop making consoles when it sold 30 million? If anyone is in trouble, it's Steam Deck. It only sold 4. I don't know anything about Steam Deck. All I know is 30 million is not a lot, compared to what the competition is selling. And if they felt they had something, why in the fuck are they bringing their games to other platforms? You're missing the point. Well, let me address this first, because that is kind of a shit answer. It wasn't deep enough. Yes, you could argue that so far, Microsoft has brought their content to other platforms, but it's not day and date, and they think they can build a console market around the idea of, yeah, you can get this, but you get it first here on Xbox hardware. I understand that argument. I think that's a little weird to me, because in the sense that why would they be announcing so far out? Indiana Jones is coming. Doom is probably coming. All of their shit is probably coming, right? They clearly are walking away from the exclusive mindset. So in that sense, I don't buy the fact that they're like, next gen, we're going to get them. Because if they really felt that way, they wouldn't be putting this shit on Xbox. You think Sony's going to put Spider-Man on Xbox? Why would Xbox put Indiana Jones on PlayStation? It doesn't make sense. Well, of course Xbox gamers hardly buy games because they're built for Game Pass. And I get if they're saying, oh, 3 months later, 8 months later, sure. Tiger Electronics is coming back. Yeah. Okay. All right, well, we'll find out together. None of us really know. We're all looking at the tea leaves. I can tell you my take on the tea leaves is their console is going away. It does sound like they have a handheld that may come out, but I don't see anything beyond that. Go find out, do a little research, see what you come back with. I'd love to hear your take. Next time I do talk to Colin, I'll ask him what he thinks, but I don't think they're long for the console world. Absolutely. Okay. K-Nubs, I disagree. He says Microsoft doesn't even have great games people care about. That's changing quickly, though. Indiana Jones, Doom, Call of Duty, all of these games are going to be associated with Microsoft now because Microsoft owns them. Stalker, well, that's that they don't own that, but you know what I'm saying. I wait for games to come to Steam, says that guy. I don't think I'd buy a console just to play something sooner. Yeah, I mean, I may not buy the PS6, depending. I may just get a new PC, because I can stream it everywhere. But, we'll see. Depends what comes to the PS6. I can't really justify spending $800, $700 on a new PS6 just because of the graphics, just because, I get to play a new God of War 8 months before everyone else. I mean, it seems ridiculous. Hopefully what Sony will do by then is go, hey, we'll let you, like they used to do, they got rid of this. We'll let you buy our games, which I would happily do, and stream them to your PC. Then I would be like, cool. Then I'll buy your games like I always do. But there's no fucking way I'm going to buy a $600 machine to play 1 or 2 games a year. That's ridiculous to me. Eric, I disagree, but there's no doubt Indiana Jones is not the kind of blockbuster everyman game that Uncharted is. Absolutely. There's no doubt. Totally true. Totally true. Okay. Let us move forward. Let's talk about how mean gamers are. Yet I will pay $2,000 for a new gaming PC. Well, it depends. If I wasn't doing this job, no. I would basically just pay for a decent PC and stream everything. But I have to do video editing and streaming, and so of course I will. But if you're just talking for gaming, no, I would not pay for a top-of-the-line gaming rig. It doesn't make sense, especially since I can stream great. Why would I not do that? Okay. But gamers are mean. There was this game that came out, and I've not played it yet, but I've always thought it was cool, and I like the theme. It's this game called Hypercharge, right? It's the game set in the toy store. And it's like a shooter. It came out on Xbox and PC. And the other day they said, and again, I haven't played it, but I think it's conceptually strong and it looks really, really good whenever I see footage from it. And they tweeted, okay, PlayStation players turned up. Thank you for the support. Because they're like, should we launch this on PS4 and PS5, right? You can do video editing through the cloud, actually. And I've actually been looking into that, truth be told. I think the idea of owning local hardware is a little goofball. Eventually, there's still value for it in certain places, of course. Mygen Dev says, we wanted to play this months ago when you were constantly posting how great it was, but we got Sparking Zero and Rivals now. We're eating just fine without it, my guy. Y'all can keep it 100%. What a dick. But again, my eyes have been opened by the what we do in the shadows guy. But this guy goes, I liked his response though. He says, damn, that stings. It's tough pouring your heart into something and getting this kind of response. It's deflating, man. We're not a big team. We're 5 indie devs, and we don't want to rush launch. And then he says to all the PS fans who are still with us, we see you and we appreciate you. People just dicks. But again, now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I finally saw that clip about the troll guy and what we do in the shadows, who was simply doing it just to troll. And I'm like, oh, I get it now. 99% of it is probably that. So that's probably what this guy's doing. So I can't be that upset anymore. Awesome says, I've played Hypercharge. It's not bad. Jaffe, what do you agree with about Indie and Uncharted? I'm just saying I agree that what I'm saying is Indiana Jones and Uncharted, the video games, are very different. I think Uncharted is built to be a much more mainstream hit. I think Indiana Jones is a much better game as it relates to systems and gameplay, but there's no doubt that the packaging and the production and not anyone, but most gamers can pick up Uncharted and just go and have a great time. And Indiana Jones, because it's a systems-based game, requires some thought and energy. And it's not that it's super smart, but comparatively speaking, it's more of a proper kind of game, whereas Uncharted is more of a cinematic action adventure. That's all. And they're both great. They're both great for what they are. But I agree. The dude's a jerk. I agree. This guy who tweeted this, absolutely. That's true. And you're right about that, Brad. That's the thing about creating. You get 10,000 positive comments, but it's the 1 or 5 negative comments that stick out. Yeah, because fundamentally you believe the bad stuff because, you're sensitive. You're an artist. You're a creative. And you tend to believe the bad stuff. And so when someone says it and it verifies, I didn't say indie was boring. Did you? Jaffe, didn't you see the videos in China with thousands of phones set up just tweeting at the same time? I did. I thought it was India, but yeah, it's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Okay. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. You see this guy? Man, I did it poorly. I did the best I could, and I worked at a great company. I don't have those regrets, but man, just if the wind would have blown a little different and I would have worked for an indie dev or a dev that wasn't owned by Sony, and then we would have gotten sold to Sony, man, you can make a lot of money. You see this? The details of this have come out from Stephen Totillo at GameFile. Fired Bungie dev. He was the lead of the new Marathon for a while, then he got replaced. He was the co-creator of Destiny, was the director of a lot of the footage after Destiny. Fired Bungie developer who's suing Sony could have made $84 million in this deal. And then Totillo goes to break it down. I'm just going to read you some of this because it's really, really interesting. And there's a lot of meat here about what these people get paid now, including what the yearly salary is for somebody at his level. Christopher Barrett, 25-year veteran, is calling out the process by which the developer was ousted by Bungie and Sony for alleged misconduct. I told you who he was. He filed an 82-page lawsuit slamming Bungie's investigation and raising the prospect that the culture at Bungie of the studio could face new scrutiny through legal proceedings. The lawsuit is providing an unprecedented amount, says Totillo, of detail about just how lucrative the acquisition of a studio like Bungie can be for its leaders. But he's actually looking for more money than the $84 million. Looking at the lawsuit, they calculate that Barrett was set to make $84,273,000 pre-tax when Sony bought Bungie for $3.6 billion. That haul, says Totillo, would have largely come from revested stock, which basically means you get paid out in every year you get another chunk of it, which is kind of like a key man contract to keep people there after the acquisition. And before they terminated him, he had gotten less than half. And they actually show you the equity report. So he got this equity report while he was at Bungie. And if you look at it, you can actually see the total annual consideration. So assuming he would have survived to the end of 2026, 2022, he gets $36 million. 2023, he would have gotten 1.8, probably just because it's like, yeah, you got to stick around because next year you're getting 16 million. Then the next year you get 15 million, and the last year you get $14 million. And, you know, that was the deal he made. And he's like, hey, you fuckers fired me, and it doesn't make any sense. He says Sony firing him in 2024, which means he has gotten, quote, only somewhere around 2.5 or half of what he was owed, basically, right? He said the allegations were unproven. They deprived him of half of his payments detailed in the paperwork. He wants those payments. He's also suing for at least $100 million for Sony for alleged defamation because they made allegations against him, he says, in his claims about Sony's role in becoming public. There was an internal, now listen to this, there was an internal investigation on this guy. It says the investigation found that Barrett called lower level female employees attractive, asked them to play truth or dare, and made references to his wealth and power within the studio, suggesting he could help advance their careers, according to two people familiar with the case. But he says, first off, here's a note. This guy started as a mod. Right? So if you're out there making mods and shit, this guy started, Bungie wanted to hire him. He eventually said yes when Halo rolled around. Now he's worth many, many, many millions of dollars. So let's just be clear. There might be a path there for you. But anyway, Bungie's entire operation, he says, when they moved from Seattle to Microsoft, had a going away party where the company hired strippers. He's basically saying that there was a culture there that was, you know, not acceptable. And why is he being called out for something there's no evidence of? He was making at the time, if you are the head of a game director, if you're the game director for Destiny 2, you make $240,000 is what he made per year. He said he describes the 2021 IGN expose about toxic behavior and misconduct at Bungie as not shocking to him before sharing anonymous, undated anecdotes of inappropriate workplace behavior by others. So he's like, yeah, this place can be kind of bad, but I didn't do anything, is what he's saying. It says he soured on working with Bungie in 2023, clashes with management, shift in responsibilities. In 2024, he says he asked for a mental health leave and was shocked when he was told he was under investigation by the company. The lawsuit says Bungie carried out an investigation by asking Barrett whether he had ever asked for a colleague's phone number, had ever asked a colleague to FaceTime, had ever invited a colleague to virtual happy hour, had ever complimented a worker's appearance, had ever offered to purchase a gift for a coworker, and whether he had ever asked coworkers to play games with him. And then in parentheses, it says, apparently a real shocker at a games company. The suit states that Bungie's investigator did not ask Barrett whether he had engaged in appropriate sexual conduct, whether he ever sent inappropriate sexual or porno materials to coworkers, whether he ever retaliated against a coworker for rebuffing his advances or discriminated against a female colleague on the basis of sex. They didn't ask the question, says the lawsuit, because he hadn't done any of this. So he's fired after being told that 5 women at Bungie had reported they were uncomfortable about communications. And then he says, well, even if that's the case, which it's not, there's a harassment policy at Bungie allowing for corrective action when appropriate. And he says, they didn't do that either. They just fired me. And he says all of this amounts to termination that breached his contract. And then they're also saying how Sony responded to the request for interviews and comments also contributed to people feeling that he was a bad dude. He says the suit, that the harm to him, in the suit, he says the harm to him for all of this is severe and ongoing PTSD, loss of job opportunities and friends. The direct result of the defendant's campaign to cancel Barrett, he writes near the end of the lawsuit, says the over $45 million plus, that's what he wants. He also wants the $45 million he hasn't been paid. So I don't agree. Sky says, I feel there are no good guys here, just different layers of trash. Now, to Sony's credit and Bungie's credit, which is the same thing, they have not responded yet. The lawyers haven't responded. They haven't filed a response. So, this is a one-sided take on the situation. And of course, it is going to be favorable to the guy who's filing the complaint. So obviously we need to wait, but here, whether or not this guy is the biggest fucking shyster on the planet, or this guy has a real, stick to shake, he's got a real bone to pick. That's what I meant. Is almost regardless, because they're going to settle the fuck out of this case. They're going to settle this for probably $50 million because he's asking for like 160, 70 million. It looks like. There's business there. But think about that. Think about if everything had gone his way and he hadn't gotten laid off, and you're a guy that started making mods and you said, yeah, I'll come work there. And before you know it, you could have walked out. I mean, you already walked out the door with 37. You walked out the door with about 40 million or 38 million bucks. You could have walked out with about, what did they say? What was the total? $84 million. Come on now. Good God. So don't fucking tell me. Maybe that's why people work in the video game business are like, yeah, it's just like playing the lottery. 99% of us are never going to get this. We're all going to get laid off. It's going to suck. But you know what? If you roll the dice just right, you could end up 84 million bucks for your trouble. Think about that. But yeah, they'll probably settle. That's what they do. That's what all these companies do. You want to go to a jury trial on the West Coast where the juries are super liberal and favorable to people saying they got fucked by the man? Only if it turns out they have a rock solid case. I mean, to Sony's credit, when we got sued for God of War, they knew it was bullshit and they said, okay, we'll fight it. I was so glad they didn't settle. I was so grateful that they didn't settle because it wasn't true. So in this case, unless they've got this guy, it's like, dude, you are full of shit, and here's the proof of it. Then they probably will settle. Wasn't it 5 women complaining? That's a lot. Yeah, it is a lot. But again, it's hard to know what he actually did. If the things that they asked him about in the investigation were as, semi-benign, they basically said, have you ever asked for a colleague's phone number, asked a colleague to FaceTime, invited a colleague to virtual happy hour, complimented a coworker's experience, ever offered to purchase a gift for a coworker, or whether you ask coworkers to play games with you? This is all he was, at least to his face, investigated about. If the answer to this from all 5 women was yes, then I don't think it's grounds for firing. It may not even be grounds for writing him up. But certainly it would be grounds if the answer to this was yes. Okay, well, we have a corrective policy that if you do get called out, we will meet with you and we will talk to you about what the issues are. But what he's now saying, because there's nothing here that's really problematic. Maybe you could argue that complimenting a coworker's appearance, maybe that gets a lot deeper. It's like he didn't just compliment her, but that's not listed here, right? It's clearly one-sided. But all the stuff that Bungie's investigator said, that stuff, of course, you're right. If 5 women or 1 woman said that, fuck yeah. it would be a problem. But we don't know. But it's going to be an interesting thing to watch. That's for goddamn sure. Let me tell you guys something about Kajina in the chat. This woman knows I know where some bodies are buried. She knows where a lot more bodies are buried, and she doesn't talk as much. And I'm not saying you should ask her, but you should go over to her new YouTube channel. Kajina, tell people how to find you on the YouTube. Because, maybe you can, pull some of the dirt out. She knows what's up. She knows how bad some of these companies are. You goddamn right. All right, let's move forward, shall we? Here's something else, by the way. I'm tired of the horse shit. Oh, yeah, Kajina says she knows specific Bungie bodies. Come on now. Does he look like a stud or an incel? You know what? It's tragic that that's a good question, but I'm curious. It says it might matter to a jury. All right, let's look him up. Let's look his old mug up and see what this motherfucker looks like. Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin from Winnie the Pooh. Christopher Barrett. Bungie. Let's see what this guy looks like. Let's take a guess. Because you guys can go look it up. Christopher Barrett. What do you look like, sir? Little bit of a soy fella, right? I don't know. He's very soft and kind of feminine, right? That's not necessarily he's not a stud or anything, but he could either be kind of a creepy looking dude, or he could be kind of a, like a nerdy dude that the girls like. I don't know. What do you guys think? Good looking fella or not? Look at him here. Flirting with the lady with the blonde hair there. Inspal says he's a softie. Sorry, Christopher, you're a softie. I like how I can license this. It says it's licensable. Oh, thank God. There's nothing more I want than a picture of Christopher Barrett. Zeke says he's fucked. Brad says he's a nerd. Hairline's... My hairline is not bad, Bukaki. This is the problem. This is why I'm a real fucking alpha and you're not. I don't care about my hairline. I don't think about my hairline. Now, that's a fucking man. All the women out. Imagine being a woman who is with a man who spends that much time thinking about his fucking hair. You fucking idiot. Anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens. He looks like he sweats a lot. It's very specific. Awesome. Reefer Snail says soy version of Cliffy B. Maybe. Well, regardless, if he got fucked, I hope he gets his day in court, or he gets represented and everything turns out well. And if he's trying to fuck over Sony and Bungie, I hope they fuck him right back. I don't know. I'm not spazzing out about a hairline comment. I'm upset, or I'm responding, or I'm flying off the handle, Bukaki, because it represents so much that I feel is one of the real problems that a lot of men in our culture have, which is a sense of desperation and a sense of neediness and cloying desire of a desperation for acceptance. And I don't know if that's because they didn't get it from their papa or their mama. I don't know if it's because the media. I couldn't tell you where it comes from. But as a Gen X guy, we didn't really deal with a lot of that. It's not internalized self-hatred. What am I self-hating? I don't feel bad about my hairline. Yeah, the money added 3 inches to this guy's height. My brother's in the chat. He's a gay fella. He says he's pretty cute, though. So would you date him if it turned out that he was a con man, though? See, if he's cute and he wins, you need to go up to Seattle and see if he's single and a gay fella. But if he could be a bad guy, his subconscious said upset. Take the hat off. Okay. There you go. Look at the bald spot. I don't care. Sky says I'm bald. My hairline fell faster than Poland in World War II. That's horrible. All right. Let's move forward, shall we? This is what I'm getting tired of, though. I've had it up to here with the pretending people. Fuck you, Brad. I've had it up to here with people pretending that they care about this shit. Let's just fucking own it. Stop writing about how much you care about the goddamn actors and the voice actors. No, you don't. Activision has not only put AI in their game, they've done it for over a year with skins. Now they're doing it with loading screens. But they've just been like, you know what? If SAG-AFTRA wants to strike, cool. We'll just hire some people who will work for us, whether they're SAG and they're doing it, you know, without reporting it, or they're not union reps, or goddammit, union actors. And you know what? Cool. But not to say, I love actors, and I think Troy Baker and Indiana Jones has made that game so much better. There is zero doubt. There is zero doubt. And they bring so much quality to certain games. But end of the day, at least a lot of games like this one, people aren't not playing it. People aren't not playing it because they used AI, but they said they would. People aren't not playing it because they're not going to use SAG or union actors because the acting matters for voiceovers, but they said they would. It's all business. It's not that they don't deserve to be treated well. What they're asking for, short of a few things, I think they should get. But what I'm saying, though, is that, again, it's about the leverage you have over the people you're negotiating with. And you can have the best intentions, and you can love actors, and you can love artists and all that. But end of the day, no one's stopping because they don't really care. They like it. They like it when they can get the good stuff. Sure, I do too. But what, you're going to stop playing Call of Duty Zombies now because the voice acting isn't as good? Come on now. And that's the thing. That's what I think these fucking journalists should be writing about, instead of, let's get on the soapbox and, feel good about ourselves for 5 minutes. And then you go off, send your audience off into the fucking night, acting like they think they got the upper hand. What they should be doing is educating the audience about all of these fucking unions sound great. And a lot of them are great. But you also have to understand that if you guys don't change what you buy and why you buy it, that's the only power they have, right? So, for example, there was just a new union formed, and I think it's because there's all these fucking layoffs. And this may actually be what causes something good to happen with unions in video games, which is apparently designers, producers, engineers, and QA, and a lot of different disciplines have joined this one union. I think might be a Bethesda union, I think. And that's fantastic because now they have some leverage. Now they actually have some leverage because finally, I guess the above the line people have gotten shit on enough that they're like, okay, maybe we need this union. But until that, the union's only as powerful as the leverage they have against the person they're negotiating with. And they didn't have any. But now if the programmer says, well, I'm not coming into work, and the producer's like, well, I'm not going to schedule your shit. Good luck, having them, having the design team know when to stop working because they don't want to stop working until it's perfect. And you'll never ship the game. That starts to make sense. I hope it happens. I really do. All right. Let's talk about sales. Some interesting stuff. Moops has a great point. It says if folks are going to buy child slave labor phones, no way in hell is some AI voice acting in a game going to make them not. Yeah, again, after seeing that clip about what we do in the shadows, 99% of anything I see online on social media, including the virtue signaling, I just don't believe. I just fucking don't believe. Call of Duty's number one. I'm not going to go through all these. I just want to point out one little aspect to the... most people say my brother's better looking than me. He's definitely smarter than me. He's not as charismatic. He's not as funny. Not as charming, but I think most people, neither one of us are amazing looking, but most people, he's taller. Most people think he's better looking, and he's whip smart. I keep saying he should have a podcast or come on mine and talk politics. It's disturbing how smart he is. It's gross. But I will tell you one thing. He sent me a book recently, and maybe he's been able to read it. I've tried 4 times to read this book now. What was that book called you sent? It was called about the birds on the cover. It's about communications. And I love the idea of it. My brain can't read that fucking book. It takes me like 20 minutes to go through one fucking page of that book. And I'm just like, nope, can't do it. Okay, American game charts. Here we go. These are this is America Nexus. That's right. I mean, have you been able to read that? I find it incredibly dense and hard to read. Call of Duty #1, but here's why I'm interested in this actually, because Dragon Age Veilguard, which again I don't think is fuck you, Sesko, you fucker. You know, I like the game a lot. I still don't think it's going to be a hit, let alone a big hit. But it is interesting to see. Last month it premiered at #6, and it did drop, but it only dropped 4 spaces. I only bring that up because if you look at some of these other ones, like Silent Hill premiered at 3 last month, and it dropped all the way to 15. Metaphor Refantasio premiered at 5, dropped all the way to 17. So I wonder what's keeping this. Now, part of it is this came out very, very late the month before. But I wonder if this is going to have more legs, because most people who actually play this game, there's pretty good word of mouth on it. Not with the people that are, oh, it's not, I get it, it's not Dragon Age, it's not what you thought it would be. I get all that. But a lot of people play it and go, you know what, that was actually pretty good. Not if you were expecting something different, but just as a standalone game. And so that's why I'm curious. I wanted to just bring it up so next month we can look at the charts and see if this is, it'll drop for sure. But I wonder if it's going to drop massively or if it's going to be like now at 13 and you're like, holy shit, that's got some fucking legs over the holidays. Outlaws was a better game than Dragon Age. Hey, John Gray, they're both some of my favorite fucking video games of the year. I love both of those games. Absolutely. Speculation is Veilguard isn't selling great. BioWare's not releasing numbers and it's on sale at 40%. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's not doing terribly well. The other real question on both of those is how many people, both from a standpoint of, Star Wars Outlaws, which is on Ubisoft Plus, which is how I played it. I didn't buy it. I paid $18 and I got their whole library for a month, like Netflix. So I played it there. And then I unsubscribed. And EA Play Pro or Premium or whatever it's called, it's like $16 and I got their whole library. And I've played Dragon Age there. And I've resubscribed that one because I haven't finished it because I was busy with other games. Like, I wonder in those cases, just like when Xbox puts things on Game Pass and people are like, why aren't they selling? It's like, why isn't it selling? Because there's a cheaper way to rent it. And most people are okay with that. I wonder, like, that never does seem to enter into this conversation about Outlaws or Dragon Age. And I'm not saying it was a meaningful reason the numbers are off or low on those games, but it is weird we don't hear anything about that as it relates to how those games sold and why they didn't sell where they wanted them to. So, you know, I'm curious. I'm very, very curious. John Gray, you bought Outlaws on PlayStation and Xbox? Why? Why would you buy it twice? Yeah, Outlaws is fun as fuck, says Ravno. Streaming services are destroying the industry. I don't know what they have to do with each other, but I agree that Outlaws is fun as fuck. Streaming services are not what I'm talking about. Those are subscription services. Whether you stream them or not, you can still get them on the subscription service. Okay. I'll deal with that later. Okay. Let's talk about Helldivers. I don't know why people are so fucking upset. Hellgast armor and weapons are out now, or coming out now, and there'll be another package of these coming out in a couple of weeks. They'll cost you $20 if you want a skin and the gun and some flags and blah, 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 right? And people are upset about it. I saw Greg Miller posting about this. He wasn't happy. He wasn't happy a goddamn bit. And a lot of people are saying that. I had people write into the chat saying I'm upset. Helldivers 2 players rip into Arrowhead for straight up ridiculous Killzone crossover prices. And here's the CEO's point. I think he's absolutely correct. People are just greedy and selfish and dumb. CEO defends the choice. He says the more of this stuff we sell, the more Illuminat type stuff we can keep dropping for free. So they're giving you a lot of good content over the 8 months this game has been out. And they've given it to you for free. And they want to keep giving it to you for free. So forgive them if they sell some fucking cosmetics that don't affect the game, that have nothing to do with the gameplay. Charge $20 for the cool update, not the cosmetics, says Bukaki. You can't do that, though, because if you do that, you end up splitting the audience. right? You have to have everybody being able to play everything. Now, one of the genius ideas I had for Drawn to Death, and if Drawn to Death would have worked, we would have had this opportunity, was that you could we would sell levels. And people were like, I don't understand. You're selling levels. What if I don't have the level? It's like, doesn't matter. As long as one person buys the level, and then at the end of a match, you vote on the next match, as long everybody can vote to play that guy's level and everybody will have it. You just can't put it up for a vote. We would have sold a decent number of levels that way. But in this case, though, you can't do that because you're going to split the base and there's going to be less people available to play with. But I'm with the guy. It's like, dude, give. I mean, seriously, are you that upset? You got to spend. It's a fucking costume. Shut up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be a dick, but I'm kind of not sorry to be a dick. It's a $20, you know, if go buy the fucking thing, support the fucking people. And if you're like, well, I already paid for the game, good, then you're done. Then you're done. You don't deserve shit for free just because you want it. Well, Bukaki says you can only get certain buffs from buying skins. You're already separating the player base. No, you're not. You might be creating pay for power, which I totally am against. But it's not like, I mean, you know more than I do about it, but I've played a little bit of it. You're telling me that if I buy a skin for Helldivers 2 that has a buff, it will not put me in a match with other people, or it will only put me in a match with people that have the same buffs? I mean, at least that's fair, but that would split the user base. But I don't think that's what you're saying. I don't agree with that. See, Alistar, I disagree, where he says pay for power. At the end of the day, it's PvE. Who cares? I have never agreed with that. A lot of people say you cannot have pay to win in PvE. And I absolutely think that's incredibly wrong. It makes no sense to me, because what you end up with, and you saw this with EA when EA brought Dead Space to Apple phone back in the day, the original Dead Space. And you could go up to the lockers and machines and you could buy things, right? And so ask yourself this. The game can be ruined. If it is tuned in a way that is meant to drive sales of the microtransaction. So if you take, let's just say Astrobot, as it is, let's say they took Astrobot and they sold, you know, when you fight bosses in that game and you've got the little hash marks behind Astrobot, so you've got basically 3 lives. Let's say you could spend a quarter, like in the arcade. You spend a quarter and you get 3 lives, and you can activate them anywhere. Okay, fine. But it's PvE. Who cares? Well, I care, because then am I playing the game that is in the box that I paid for, and is that game tuned with the intent that 95% of the users are going to come to a point that's so difficult they need that? Or is that basically an easy mode that you can pay for? So you take that essence of what that single player game is meant to be and you totally fuck it up, because people don't know, is it tuned in order to get money out of your wallet, or is it tuned just to be an easy mode? I don't understand these people that say you cannot do PvE as pay to win. There is no such thing as pay to win in PvE. You're simply wrong. You're simply wrong. Metal Gear Survive had players pay for save slots. Yeah, I mean, I didn't play it. So Metal Gear Survive was multiplayer or not? I know they had a multiplayer one. It's Killzone, so it's not relevant to many younger gamers anyway. That's true. I get it. If it keeps going that route, it could get out of control. I mean, yeah, I think it would be terrible. Hang on one sec. But they are cool skins. I mean, they want you to buy them. I get it. Okay. Let's, I don't know, Greg, let's go to Greg's tweet real quick. That's where I first saw it. And then I saw somebody in the chat was asking me to talk about it. He clearly wasn't happy with it. Greg Miller. What did he say about this? He said, oh yeah, the Superman trailer's out tomorrow. He says, this kind of sucks. War bonds cost $10 and have stuff like this, credits to buy more stuff, etc. This being sold piecemeal. This is. Buy everything here and it'll cost you about $20. There's another Killzone drop coming in 5 days, and you assume that's $20. So you're basically spending $40 and getting far less than a $10 war bond. Yeah. Yep. It is asking for a lot, but that's kind of the going price for a lot of these things. I mean, you know, that's what the Marvel Rival skins cost, if I remember correctly. Not the Battle Pass, but the individual skins. And there's some amazing skins. All right, here's what we're going to do. But I want to read one more thing, and then I want to talk Steam Replay, and then I want to get into some reaction stuff. We're going to, in about 10 minutes, we're going to do reactions to Asmongold's video. We're going to do reactions to the worst Game Award speech ever. I want to look at this brand new trailer. I think it's called Exodus. But first, I want to hit these real quick. E-Day over on the Discord was talking about Game Pass and PS Plus. This is, everybody, here's a perfect example. Everybody is asking me all the time, Jaffe, why you got such a fucking hard on for subscription services? Forget streaming for a minute. And this is why. Because what this does, oh yeah, Philip says, remember the haunted house, yeah, here in San Diego that would sell you a medallion for $5 so the monsters don't scare you. So yeah, you would go into the haunted house and you would, my kids got it. You would wear this little thing that like you could buy at Ace Hardware. And it was just like a little flashlight, but it didn't give off much light. And it's like this. You wear it here. And if you come into a room and you hold it up, the monsters leave you alone. So it's for people who want to be in the haunted house, but they're a little scared, basically. Now, you could have said, well, let me go the other way. And it's like you can pay $5 less for your ticket. If you get this, then the monsters won't scare you. But I think it was, you know, it was predatory, but it was smart, you know. But anyway, this is why I love subscription services. Subscription services, not streaming, although that's a different thing. I love those too. Hello, Abdul. Good to see you, bud. He says, E-Day says, I have no patience. There's like 8 million games between Game Pass and PS Plus. If I don't like that shit, I'm done. They're talking about moving on from a game after 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I think this is perfection. This is exactly one of the main things I wanted to happen when people started doing subscription services, which is, what is it going to do? What is the result? If it forces people, if the game as is that they put on Game Pass tells people they're going to walk away, the stats show that they're going to walk away if your opening 10 minutes are not compelling, not action-packed, not filled with blow up explosions and gunfights, just something that makes you go, interesting. I want to see where this goes. Then you know what? You walk the fuck away, because there is no sunk cost. There is no sense of, well, I spent $70. I drove to the store. I downloaded it. It took me 2 hours. You just, yeah, exactly. So Gabriel says, I feel think about that, and think about how I am your champion. And I've been your champion on this hill, just like Grums. Shut up. I've been your champion on this hill for so long, and I have taken so much shit from so many core gamers over this. And I am defending the masses of people who love video games. And what do I get for it? A metaphorical kick in the fucking teeth. Gabriel says, I feel way less inclined to finish games on Game Pass. Why, Gabriel? I think I know why, but can you type why you feel less inclined to finish games on Game Pass? Or can somebody speak for Gabriel if you agree with him? Why would you feel less inclined to finish a game on Game Pass? That's weird. It's just a game. Shut up, Da Vinci. Jaffe, what are the chances the drone thing has to promote the new Superman movie? No chance in hell. No chance in hell. The first few minutes of a game are the hardest to design, says Matthew. That's true. I think the loop is the hardest, but sure. I never change my tune about that. Okay. He says, no money sunk in. When I was a kid, we played shitty games for hours and pretended we like it. Yeah. Bukaki says I'm the last line of defense because you're not invested. Right. So that was a crutch that you guys allowed game developers to use for years. And a lot of you guys are still letting them use it. And now if people do start playing more and more with subscription, then the game has to do the work. The game has to go, we can't lose them. We have to put an effort into this loop. We got to put an effort into the first 10 minutes. We have to put an effort into no one's going to accept our shitty, boring fucking cutscenes that last 30 minutes before you get to pick up a fucking controller. This is exactly what I said was going to happen. And I don't know if Game Pass or PS Plus or Ubisoft Plus is going to become the standard. I think it will. Something like that. But this is exactly what we need. This makes games better. As does lower barrier of entry, but that's streaming. But we're just talking subscription. So you're welcome. And you can thank me by buying a membership, a super chat, a hat at the store, whatever. You're welcome. Just like Maui says. Why waste your time, says Anthony, when you have a million games? Honestly, even if you paid $70. Yeah, but you and I are adults. We have some money. $70 is like, eh. But if you're like a guy and you love video games and you come home and you only can afford 3 or 4 of them a year and you maybe go past you can't return it. Like buying a game on Sony's a nightmare to return if you play it. It's not like Steam. I get why they would say, well, this is the game I've got for the next 2 months. I guess I'm going to play it. And maybe there'll be some great stuff in it, but that shouldn't be acceptable. Just like I started watching this TV series on Apple TV last night, Silo, right? I heard a lot of people raving about Silo. I watched the first episode of it. I liked it, thought it was compelling. I watched the second episode of it, and I went right to the internet. I said, what happens? It wasn't good enough to keep me watching. It was one of those fucking J.J. Abrams mystery box bullshit things that they've been trying to shovel in our fucking faces for the last 15 years. And it's like, okay, I get it. Oh no, who's this character? What's this? Fuck you. What's it about? Right? Because the core characters weren't that compelling and I moved on with my fucking life. The more choice you have, the more they have to work to entertain you. That's brilliant. That's exactly the customer has the power. Absolutely. Perfection. Okay, but that's different. Darth Nugget says there's something called an acquired taste. Some things you end up loving takes you a while. But you're giving the people way too much, who make these games, way too much credit. Slow burn is not the problem. I've said this example numerous times. Hateful Eight from Tarantino slow burns the fuck out of the opening of that fucking movie. It's like 8 minutes of slowly pushing into a fucking cross. But it's compelling because as it pushes in to the cross, stuff's starting to reveal itself in the background. Stuff is starting to reveal itself in the foreground. And even then the soundtrack, your brain is working and appreciating the slow burn, the slow burn of it, right? That doesn't mean it's not an acquired taste. It doesn't mean it's not slow for people. It is. But there's a reason. It's not poor craftsmanship that it's slow. It's intentional that it's slow, basically. My brother says, are movies and TV shows better because of Netflix? Some of them are. Yes, absolutely. If you look at the fact that TV shows on Netflix don't have to be 23 minutes for a sitcom, and you worked on dramas, what was it, 46 minutes, and everything else had to be for ads? Every episode is based on what the writing needs. That's better. Instead of having to have, 32 episodes a season, and a lot of those are filler, because they have to basically make the sausages. On Netflix, it's like, look, the best story we can tell is 9 episodes. That's our season. That makes the most sense. So I would say yes. The environment in which to be linear narrative storytellers on Netflix makes a lot more sense. Okay, John says, I had a slow burn with Final Fantasy VIII. I really didn't like it at first and quit playing. Then I couldn't stop thinking about it and picked it back up. Right, that's very different than waiting for it to get good. 100%. 100%. Okay. Comedy's 30 minutes an episode. Well, it's 30 minutes here too, but we make space for ads. So if you look at a script for a sitcom in America, I think it's 23 pages roughly, because each page roughly equates to a minute. Because that 7 minutes is like, that's the ad time, motherfucker. You ain't cutting into the fucking Kellogg's fucking Fruit Loops commercial, you know? Okay. Silo's pretty great. I'm not a hater. I wanted to like it. The problem with it is just, for me, the issue I had with it was I've seen that kind of thing before. And I was just like, there's something wonderful about a show that has a mystery. Like Only Murders in the Building is a great show. And you don't know who the murderer is usually until the last episode. But the characters and the writing, it's funny, they're compelling, it twists, it turns. Silo after episode 2 just seemed to be like another one of those, hey, Lost was a hit, let's make a show like that. And it was like, let's just plant red herrings everywhere. And in that, I think I'd rather just read about what happened. So I went online, I read about what happened, and great. It was excellent. I was happy to see it that way. Philip says 2001 Blade Runner Dead Man. I think 2001, I haven't watched Dead Man, as you know, but 2001 is compelling from the get-go. It's slow, but it's super fucking compelling. I think Blade Runner, and Blade Runner wasn't a hit. I mean, Blade Runner is the exception to the rule because it didn't do well, and it's a beloved movie now, but it's still a movie that, a lot of people are kind of like, It's your average moviegoer hasn't seen it, but yeah, I like it, but it's slow. Shrinking on Apple TV Plus is pretty good. The first season was excellent. We're on the 3rd episode of the 2nd season, and I really have no interest in watching any more of it. Like the first season I loved, but now it's just kind of like, it's kind of running out of steam. Hopefully it'll pick back up. Awesome says Red Dead Redemption 2 is a great example. Getting the crew through the winter is long, but once you come out of that and the open world comes open, it's a masterpiece. But is it long getting the crew through the winter? Is it boring, or is it slow but it's compelling? Because those are two very different things. Have you watched the Concord? No, I haven't watched any of Secret Level. I heard it wasn't very good. I did hear today they just got a 2nd season though, so good for them. Finally though, if you're interested in what people are playing over on Steam, and then we'll get to some reactions in a second, you can do that, man. That can happen in your life. If you go over to your Steam account and see what people have been playing all year. What is interesting to me is just they compare with you what other people have done, right? So again, because I have a lot of subscriptions, because I get a lot of free games, and because I don't really struggle to spend money on games, I play a lot more than the average person, right? And so with subscription services, I think more and more people will be that way. Because I walk away from games all the time if they're not compelling. But I played 116 games this year. 101 new games, 228 demos, 15 playtests. The average person on Steam this year played 4 games. They only played 4 fucking games. Think about that. Anthony, don't say the Red Dead Redemption scene is ripped from Hateful Eight. I didn't play Red Dead Redemption yet, so I don't know. Hello, Rathizzle. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. 116 games versus 4. So, I have a bit of a different take on things for sure. But my number one game, Marvel Snap, 34% of my play times. I've played over 750 hours of this game. This is my desert island game. Easily, I adore it. You might be going, what the fuck is Rusty's Retirement? I wouldn't blame you. But Rusty's Retirement is basically a little game that runs down below in your window. And I played it just for when it came out the month, and it was cool. I played it for about 8 days and got bored of it, but it was kind of cool to have this thing kind of running in the background, and I would just click on some things and it would kind of harvest some fruit and vegetables. I don't fucking know. It's robots. Fuck you. It's Rusty's Retirement. But it's fun, but it wore off pretty quickly. Black Myth Wukong, come on now. I played that for, I don't know how many hours, 7 days, whatever that is, in August. Enjoyed the shit out of that. Dragon's Dogma, I love. No Rest for the Wicked, I fucking loved. Early access. I kind of got bored of it after a while, but I enjoyed it. Played most games in May, turns out. So there we go. Dragon's Dogma, #Blood, loved it. Hollow Body, loved it. Banishers, loved it. There's some good stuff. A lot of people miss a lot of great games. My longest daily streak, 254 days. Hatred, Deus Ex, 7 Days to Die, Volgar the Viking, Regency Solitaire, shut up. Echo Generation Midnight Edition, excellent. Cyberpunk, excellent. Ready or Not, excellent. Good stuff, man. Good games this year. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take like 3 minutes. I got to pee and get a new Coke. And then we're going to come back and we are going to, and really, I mean, it's going to be quick, but we are going to watch the Exodus trailer that just dropped. This is from a bunch of the guys that worked on, I think it's some of the guys that worked on Cyberpunk, correct? Cyberpunk and what's the other fucking game? The Witcher. I believe that's the game we're talking about. Then we're going to look at the Asmongold response. Then we're going to look at the speech at the Game Awards. Okay, so I literally just need to go get a Coke and pee. And, you know, I'll be back in just a second. So in the meantime, what the kids like to say, you know, they say, BRB, that stands for be right back. And I'll be right back. Shut up, Wayne. You son of a bitch. Yeah. I got him. All right, fellas. I brought a Diet Coke. No, a Diet Mountain Dew. And I got some salsa. Oh. Dark, shadowy place. That is very hard. Had to put my cat to sleep today. Oh, buddy. I'm so sorry. That's rough, man. I was sitting with my dog on the couch last night thinking, you know, he's not getting any younger. And, yeah, man, that sucks. That's a real fucking killer. I'm so sorry about that. But, you know, at least you did it the humane way. That's fucking great. But still, yeah, it sucks, man. Okay. Why does then he write LOL? What's funny about that? It's horrible. Okay. This is, let's watch this trailer. Am I right to say that this is from the guys that made, they broke off from CD Projekt Red? I think that's the case, but anyway, let me make this, I think that's full screen. Hang on. Internet. Okay. So here we go. We're going to watch this, talk about it, then we'll move on to the Asmongold video and then the speech. Here we go.
Preparing to transfer now. This is your last chance to bail, June.
Do it.
That's awesome.
Loaded weapon is a hell of a way to greet your new partner.
So you're June.
We're burning time. Now that we're all best of friends, let's make each other rich. I'm not just here to look pretty. I've got away with celestial tech. I see a lot of potential in this new partnership.
Let me light the way for you.
Please tell me this is not a fucking co-op thing. Please tell me it's a single player.
Many thanks again for your help.
You should have been honest.
This place is forbidden. The price is death.
That's what it means to be a traveler.
I mean, I think it looks really fucking cool. It's single player. It's single player. Okay. Great. It looks like Mass Effect no one wants. I'll take it. I'll fucking take it. The faces look odd and maybe so. Oh, God. I mean, you're not maybe wrong. I don't know. Oh, it's X Mass Effect? I don't know. It's X somebody. I think it looks cool, man. I mean, does everything... I don't know. I don't mean to be a dick, but it's like, does everything have to be fucking perfection? Yeah, it doesn't... Maybe it doesn't look Naughty Dog... Hey, buddy. Maybe it doesn't look Naughty Dog AAA, but it looks creative and interesting and fun and... you know, fuck. I'm interested. So who is this who did this? You're saying it's the Mass Effect guys or it's the CD Projekt Red guys that broke off? Why would I make up a story about my cat? What? No. It looks promising enough. Probably need a deep dive or demo. Sure. Absolutely. They don't have big enough boobs, Jaffe. Maybe they don't, but all I'm telling you is it's like if you're going to now, I don't think they are, but I don't know what people's response is to this. But if people are complaining about this fucking thing because the characters aren't hot enough, then just shut up. I mean, seriously. I know you're probably kidding, but just Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. But I'm not hearing any of that. So... yeah. Okay. It's former BioWare people, says Brad. Cool. Excellent. Well, let's see where they go. Let's see what they do. But this looks really cool. I'm super interested in this. When is it supposed to come out? Do we even know yet? I guess you can go to their website, right? What did they say that website was called? Exodus Game. Let's just check it out real fast. What do you mean I won't play it when it comes out? What are you talking about? I play almost every game. And unless this has terrible reviews, I'll play it. I mean, you know, I want to see it. Okay, Exodus, join now. I've already watched the trailer. Fine. I fed him already. All right, let me give him my email. Okay, join now. Sure, send me emails. I like when I get emails and shit from... things I like. It's kind of like, you know, opening the mailbox and shit and being like, oh, you know, features, become the traveler, gameplay features. Let's see what this is all about. Hard and unrelenting, enemies abound. What's like Souls? The secret of the universe are infinite to save your home world. Is it open world or what? Began. I don't care about this. I want to know what the gameplay is. Allies, the way the traveler is hard. Fuck you, I don't care. I want to know what the gameplay is. Is it open world? Is it not open world? What is this thing? I do like getting emails from companies. It's not that I want corporate emails, but you know, I used to write those for some of the games I worked on. It's like, oh, more information about something I'm interested in. We have only one chance. Make massive choices. No other game puts immense storytelling impact of time dilation in the player's hands. Yeah, sure, but what's the game, fucker? Is it open world? What do you guys think? Do I think all these games look alike? I mean, sure. Not all these games. It's a cover shooter. Okay, so it's more linear. I mean, I think clearly there is some, there's some redundancy there, but sci-fi. I love sci-fi, so I kind of don't mind. Just like I love fantasy stuff, so I'm kind of cool with that. Starfield's a game that deserves more recognition, says interactive storytelling. I love that game. Absolutely love that game. Matthew McConaughey is in this. All right, that's cool too. Does he lend his face or just his voice though? Because I didn't see anybody that looks like McConaughey in this thing. Founders Program. Will I have time to play all these games? Probably not, but I'll play the ones that interest me. All founders. Am I a founder? What do I have to do to be a founder? I just inspired by McConaughey. The Traveler Star is the emblem of the Foundation Aegis suit. Okay. Oh, I've already done that. Okay, so that'd be great. That'd be great. I think the space opera thing's already getting a bit saturated. Yeah, I don't mind. Morgan, I don't agree. I love Starfield, but again, depending on how you play Starfield is how it's going to go down, right? So, oh, that's cool. Wrath Izzle says I got Game Pass for Christmas work break playing indie. Going to play Starfield. Oh, good. Let us know what you think. I love both of those fucking games. A Doctor Who AAA game. I love Doctor Who, at least certain doctors, but maybe when Matt Smith was kind of elevating that show to great heights that it hadn't seen, at least in America. But now I don't think it's, I think it's kind of a show, at least over here, that really has kind of lost people's focus. Watch what other trailer? Warped Eye for this game. I mean, I was on YouTube. There are 2 trailers. You can't tell me what to do. I'm a founder in Exodus. You can't tell me anything. Okay, let's see. The Creed, is it this one?
Preparing to transfer now.
Didn't we just watch this?
This is your last chance to bail, June.
No, we just watched that one. Oh, hey, Jose says we need something supernatural with conspiracies, Illuminati, vampires. There is a, it's an indie game, so if you're looking for AAA, you won't get it there. But there is a shooter, indie space that's coming that's actually about all of that stuff. You guys like when the chat's on the screen? You want that? I'll set it up tomorrow for that. I can't, doing it now cuts off certain parts of the screen I want to make sure people see. But okay, I'll make sure you guys get the chat on the screen. I know it's included with YouTube, but when I cut audio out, sometimes it's not. Okay. Is it the first gameplay reveal? Is it this right here?
Okay, lords and ladies, we finally have gotten to see the very long-awaited gameplay trailer that is used to
No, this guy's just talking
Father
about
Orion.
shit. No, I don't care about this. What trailer are you talking about? These are just people breaking the trailer down. So, all right. Well, we'll Become the Traveler extended story trailer. This one? Oh, that's from a year ago, though.
A traveler.
You guys want to watch this extended trailer? It's 5 minutes, or do you want to move on to Horizon and the speech? What do you guys want to do? Let me know. Let me know what you want to do. I'm excited for the Naughty Dog sci-fi, says Anthony. I am too. I'm super excited. Hello, Jorge. Secret level episode for it was good. Gameplay looks a little generic. It's early, I assume, but I don't know. Like I said, the gameplay for South of Midnight also kind of looks a little. The combat looks good, but tropey. But the overall thing, I'm good with, man. I'm good with the all the pieces coming together. Trailer, Horizon, move on. All right, we'll move on. Let's watch this trailer. It's a 3-minute trailer. I take issue with this trailer. We talked about it if you watched the Game Awards with us, but let's watch this and let's get to the meat of this thing because I don't like it. This guy says it's the best speech to the gaming industry ever. I think this is absolute horseshit. Let's watch. Or you guys want the chat? I think I can keep the chat on if I do this. Okay. Here we go.
Winner from Larian, Sven Vinka.
I realize you guys have been sitting here for over 3 hours, but I still have some time credits from last year to cash in. So it turns out that not only will I be the one who will know as first which game wins tonight, but I actually also know which game is going to win next year, the year after, and the year after. Now, how do I know this? Well, an oracle told me. She said, change is coming. It's a modern oracle, so they made me sign an NDA, but I trust all of you. I know you can keep a secret. You will never leak it. The Oracle told me that the game of the year 2025 was going to be made by a studio who found the formula to make it up here on stage. It's stupidly simple.
Okay, so in the chat already, I see it. Jaffe's the only blowhard I have seen who dislikes it. Just say, says Blackjack, you dislike honest business practices. No, I dislike horseshit is what I dislike. But let's keep watching.
But somehow, it keeps on getting lost. Studio made their game because they wanted to make a game that they wanted to play themselves. They created it because it hadn't been created before. They didn't make it to increase market share. They didn't make it to serve as a brand. They didn't have to meet arbitrary sales targets or fear being laid off if they didn't meet those targets. And furthermore, the people in charge forbade them from cramming the game with anything whose only purpose was to increase revenue and didn't serve the game design. They didn't treat their developers like numbers on a spreadsheet. They didn't.
Okay, let's Ember says you're being a contrarian for the sake of it. No, I'm being a contrarian because what he's saying is ridiculous. The idea, because what he's saying is absolutely correct, but people don't make games in a vacuum. And as I've said before, it reminds me of when we won Game of the Year for God of War in 2005. And Kelly Flock comes up to me and says, wow, it's amazing what you can do when you have unlimited time and resources. Okay? It's not that what he's saying is wrong, but what he's saying, though, is he's painting it, he's presenting it as some sort of noble idea that you guys need to just follow the North Star and follow your heart, blah, blah, blah. 90%, Moop says, how is it bullshit? It would be bullshit if it didn't work, but it did. What I'm saying is, of course it can work, okay? But the idea that that is 95% of the developer's experiences, that's the part that's horseshit, right? Because the magic is in creating in the inferno that is the business that they're in. Okay, so it's success bias, it's survivor's bias. Yeah, of course, if you have all the time in the world and executives aren't breathing down your neck and they're not telling you, out of these 4 games you've pitched us, we want you to make this one because it'll make more money, sure, there's a good chance that you might make a great game. There's also a good chance you'll make one of these games that we see released all the time from indie developers that no one plays. Like I had the guy that did Bzz on my show. It's a video game called BZZT. I interviewed him. Great game, by the way. And it didn't sell at all. I mean, it sold a little bit, but it was nothing. But it was his dream game. It was his game that he wanted to make. It represented what he loved about games. It was all the stuff this guy is saying. But it didn't take into account the market. It didn't take into account the fact that it wasn't a commercial idea. It was a really good game. So it's not that he's wrong that there are forces that push from business on the creative process, but there always have been. And I don't agree, Ravnos. He's saying executives shut the fuck up and let teams cook and the customers will reward you. No, they won't. No, they won't. You think that. You want to believe that. But more often than not, if people go off and make exactly what they want to make, you've got bargain bins and digital bargain bins filled with games that people thought, but this is my dream game. And they didn't think about the market, and they didn't think what was commercial, and they didn't think about what was actually going to sell. So I'm not saying, I get this. This is like I said when we watched this at the beginning. This is going to Cleveland as a rock star and saying, it's so fucking great to be back in Cleveland. And everyone goes, yeah, fucking yeah, this guy gets it. He gets it. Really? Or is he just getting a cheap applause line? Let's continue.
Treat their players as users to exploit. And they didn't make decisions. They knew were short-sighted in function of a bonus or politics. They knew that if you put the game and the team first, the revenue will follow. They were...
No, it won't. If you put the game and the team first, the revenue won't necessarily follow. You think Concord didn't put the team first and the game first? Of course they did. Clearly, that's what they wanted to make. Well, where's the revenue? That team's out of business. That game's off the shelf. It's out of business. You know what game is ruling the roost right now in the same space? A brand game, Marvel Rivals. You know what other game is ruling the roost in that space? Call of Duty, a brand game. I'm not saying that Cleveland's bad. I'm saying that Cleveland's kind of the one that's people reference because of Spinal Tap, but it could be any city you're in. It's not that he makes it sound so simple, although that's part of it, but that's okay. I mean, it's more that he is saying, it's kind of like saying, well, if you want to launch a space shuttle, or if you want to launch a rocket, it's not a problem. And then he goes on to express the 8 steps it takes when everything works out perfect and you have all the control in the world to launch the rocket. And it's kind of like, what? That's not, I mean, you can clap for that, but what are you clapping for? I'm not edgy, you idiot. Ember says, you're so edgy, Jaffe. I hope I can be as cool as you when I grow up. I'm not being edgy. I'm trying to explain to you how many developers do you need to talk to look at? Let me give you an example. I'm looking in the Discord right now. And these are Mutant Mo's top played games by playtime on Steam. Okay? You probably have heard of none of them. You've probably maybe heard of Bolt Gun because it was part of Game Pass and it's attached to Warhammer. But my guess is most of you have not heard of, let alone played, Angerfoot, Fallen Aces, Wizardom, or Black Mesa. Well, Black Mesa's old, but certainly Angerfoot, one of the most fun action games of the year. You didn't play it. Fallen Aces, really good boomer shooter, great art style. You didn't fucking play it. You certainly didn't play Wizardom. So that's not me being edgy. That's me saying that I guarantee you, and these games have style to burn, at least these two, Anger and Fallen Aces. The idea that, trust me, there were no executives breathing down the throat of the guys making Angerfoot and Fallen Aces. You know how I know? Because check out what Angerfoot looks like. And it's awesome. It's awesome. Angerfoot. This game, like I said, it has style to fucking blow out of its fucking butthole. It's batshit crazy and delightful. But it didn't sell that well. It did okay. It kind of came and went. And that's a rare success. Here comes Angerfoot. No, Matthew, I'm not saying no one should. Matthew says, so you're saying they shouldn't have made it because nobody played it. No, if you want to make an art game and you know that it's like, hey, I hope it sells, but that's not why I'm doing it, that's fantastic. Those things are great. But I'm saying the idea that this guy is saying, if you want to talk to the Oracle, she'll tell you the way to get up on the stage is just follow your heart and make what you feel in your dreams and make what you see and everything will be fine. And I'm saying that is a dangerous, stupid message. And I don't mean that that hasn't been his experience because he's worked for it and he's gotten fortunate and they've made some great games. Sure. What do you mean? How is it relevant to a speech? Because by what he's saying, Ravno says, how is this relevant to a speech? Because the guy on stage giving the speech we're talking about is saying, if you do everything this team did, it will guarantee you a trip, not just to the Game Awards, but to the stage of the Game Awards where you win the best game of the year. What do you mean, how is it relevant? Ask Goodrich. Goodrich been in the business as long as I have. He says, success is simple, Jaffe. Just make the game you love and watch the money roll in. Surprised you don't know that by now, rookie. Right. Seriously, though, Goodrich, am I wrong here? Am I just being edgy, or am I speaking some fucking truth? How many times did your studio, when you were at various studios, want to make shit and they didn't work? And you're like, yeah, sorry. That just doesn't, I mean, how many games were canceled? How many games came out and bombed? Matthew says he's speaking from experience. This is the guy that brought us Drawn to Death, and the guy that brought you God of War and Twisted Metal. So sit the fuck down, bitch. It's not about making, and in fact, I would tell you, he is saying it's a guarantee. My problem with your argument, Brad, says is, Jaffe, he's not saying it's a guarantee. He's literally saying it's a guarantee. Would you like to see it again? I'm happy to show it to you again. Not the whole thing, but listen.
Will I be the one who will know as first which game wins tonight? But I actually also know which game is going to win next year, the year after, and the year after.
Starting to sound like
Now,
a guarantee to me.
Well, an oracle told me. She said, change is coming. It's a modern oracle, so they made me sign an NDA, but I trust all of you. I know you can keep a secret. You will never leak it. The oracle told me that the game of the year 2025 was going to be made by a studio who found the formula to make it up here on stage. It's stupidly simple, but somehow it keeps on getting lost. Studio made their game because they wanted to make a game that they wanted to play themselves. They created it because it hadn't been created before. They didn't make it to increase market share. They didn't make it to serve as a brand. They didn't have to meet arbitrary sales targets or fear being laid off if they didn't meet those targets. And furthermore, the people in charge forbade them from cramming the game with anything whose only purpose was to increase revenue and didn't serve the game design. They didn't treat their developers like numbers on a spreadsheet. They didn't treat their players as users to exploit. And they didn't make decisions they knew were...
I like how Cerny's there clapping. How many games has this man had a hand in canceling? And I did too when I worked at Sony. I'm not saying that as I'm being a bad guy, but he knows that's not true. You think how many fucking dead video game bodies are lying under the floorboards of Sony, PlayStation, that were canceled, that the team, their hearts were broken because their game was canceled because him and a room of a bunch of other executives said, this isn't going to make our deal. This isn't going to reach the numbers we want to reach.
We're short-sighted.
And it's not just him. It's a lot of the executives. I'm not focusing on Cerny. I'm saying everybody that runs a company has that.
In function of a bonus or politics. They knew that if you put the game and the team first, the revenue will follow. It
sounds to me like he's giving a guarantee. So don't come at me and tell me. Also, Wayne B has a good point. It's funny to me that Tencent owns 30% of Larian and they help fund Baldur's Gate. I don't know if that's true, but let's assume it's true. Yeah. You're making Baldur's Gate. Now, again, this team is a great fucking team. Baldur's Gate's a great fucking game. I am not trying to take away any. Not that I could. I love their games, man. They're awesome. And I love that they have found a way for them to be successful. But like somebody in the chat says, where'd it go? Acehole, I get it, says, Jaffe, stop trying to kill everybody's dreams. I'm trying to get you closer to your fucking dreams. I'm trying to explain to you that if you really want what you really want, or that you say you want, don't follow if you just want it bad enough and treat everybody well. It's not how it works. It's just not how it works. Ember's Arcade. Oh my God, I can't handle this guy. Never mind. I'm not going to read it. Okay. Yeah, Sony Santa Monica canceled a game they were working on for years, numerous times. So, you can applaud it. all you want, and that's great. But if you really want to do the work and you really want, I mean, again, I'll give you an example. The guy I interviewed, you can watch the interview on this very channel. The Buzz guy. Part of it was the name. Jesus, man. Great guy, great game. If you really want an example, listen to him. Because he says now, what are you going to do next? Oh, I've learned. I'm never doing this again. Right? You think if the whole team said, we really want to make a game about an Ant-Man-like superhero that shrinks down and goes and explores inside the butthole of a dog, and that was their dream, would they pick that or would they pick a fucking brand called Baldur's Gate 3? I'm just saying. I only bring it up because it'll make you better when you learn you're being lied to and you learn really and again, I'm not saying this guy doesn't believe what he's saying. I think he believes exactly what he's saying because it's success bias. He really feels, hey, I did exactly what I wanted to do and everything worked out. That must be the path to gold. Well, not really.
They were driven by idealism and wanted players to have fun. And they realized that if the developers didn't have fun, nobody was going to have any fun. They understood the value of respect, that if they treated their developers and players well, those same developers and players would forgive them when things didn't go as planned. But above all, they cared about their game because they loved games.
Everyone who makes games loves.
Simple, said the Oracle. Winning Game of the Year turned out to be a life-changing event for us. It was an amazing thing. To those who will win Game of the Year 2024, you have no idea what's waiting for you.
What are you talking about? We've won Game of the Year. It changed nothing, but your experience, your mileage will vary. Ravno says, so devs are just numbers on a spreadsheet that exist to be laid off when you need to make your books look better. I don't think that, but yes, that's what the companies think. Yes. You think they'll think twice? They may not like it. It's not a charity. Why is this hard? Are you really that naive? Of course, that's how they look at people. They make widgets in their minds, these business people. They make fucking widgets. And if you get in the way of those widgets or their profits, they'll get rid of you. And maybe they'll cry about it to their wife and go, I hate that I had to do this. But you know what? They'll do it anyway. And if you think that's different, hey, man, call me when you're going to fight the system and we're going to get rid of unregulated capitalism. And I'm absolutely there because I fucking hate it. I don't believe in the level of capitalism that we have in America or in most of the world. I don't want to be pure socialist, but I'm with you. It sucks. But don't fucking act like, we just have to treat each other better and listen to this guy's speech and everything will be fine. Trust me, if this company puts out a flop, you think Tencent's not going to show up the next day and go, guys, you just spent $300 million and it flopped. We want another Borderlands or Baldur's Gate or whatever. No, this guy's great. He's been in the business forever. I'm not knocking this guy. I'm not knocking this guy at all. It's clear a lot of your audience, says Ryan, is left-leaning. I'm left-leaning and think of an ideal world that doesn't exist. No matter your job, no one really cares about you. If you die, you'd be replaced tomorrow. Right. I'm the most progressive guy you've ever met, man. But I'm also a realist. And I just think putting this out there to young game developers, I'm finally, okay, you're going to take a year off college. We're going to support you. You're going to make your dream game. Yeah, I'm inspired. I heard this guy on the Game Awards. I'm going to make exactly what I want. Okay. Don't you think you should maybe check around, see what people think? No, I'm going to just follow my passion. Okay. I don't believe anyone entitled to my work, my time, my thoughts without being compensated. Yeah, well, I think that's sure. I think you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, says Moops. What is at the core of his speech is put more of a focus on quality gameplay and less on microtransactions. Again, there's not certain things that he's saying. Yeah, I agree with a lot of it. Treat people better. Make your games more about the player and fix your balance there. Sure. But that's not the core of his speech. The core of his speech is, here's the right way to do it. I found the formula. I'm not a fan of that. I think it's disingenuous. Although not really for him, because I think he has success bias. Can K-Nubs, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, they make projectors. By the way, I did get Warped Eye, yeah? They make projectors that display various parts of the known universe into your room. Why hasn't someone jumped on this and done video game worlds? I don't know. Like what? I know I've seen stars on the ceiling, but what do you actually see? What, like waterfalls and shit? I think that would be cool. I'm with you. K-Nubs again, thank you, buddy. He says, what game did everyone think would be the franchise Naughty Dog looked to emulate after the insider leak? I was hoping Breath of the Wild. Seems like it's going to be Souls. I think it's going to be an open world game. And I think Neil Druckmann has made it clear that they've talked about more freedom. I think you're going to see that in everything from where you can go next to the various ways you can tackle challenges. I don't think it's going to be Breath of the Wild to the level of play with anything. It might, but I think there's too much of a narrative there that if you start solving puzzles by like, hey, I can stick this spaceship to a dog and it crushes the dog and the blood, pours into the slits of the sacrificial altar. I mean, I think it's going to be more like Souls in that sense, more handcrafted, but a lot of ways to solve things and a lot of places to go in order to build up your character and your abilities is what I think they're mean. That's what I think. I don't know, but that's kind of the vibe I got from the trailer is what I would say. Okay. Shut up, Ravnos. I'm not even reading it. If I was at the TGAs, what would be the core message of your speech to inspire people? Okay. I would say this. I would say that gaming has never been easier to create. And if you're out there and you actually want to express yourself through the medium, and those are the only people that I can even think to inspire, maybe. Certainly not a programmers, effects guys. I don't know anything about that. I would say, get a job that you can handle, that you can leave almost every day at 5 o'clock, that doesn't tax your brain, where you have a lot of freedom and you can pay your bills and make your dream games all day long. Because fundamentally, if your real goal is to express yourself through interactivity, the less people fucking with you, unless you want them to, like you're asking for advice, the better. But that's different than saying, do you want to work in the AAA industry and make hits and win Game of the Year awards? That's different. That's what I would say. I know a guy who's a very, yes, Blackjack, you're right. Blackjack, that's not an insult to me. You're right. Jaffe is the definition of scratch a cynic and you'll find a disappointed idealist. Yes. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because it's like, look, I believed all this for the longest time. It's not true. It's not accurate. It is a horse shit lie that we all get sold. We need to be more media literate. Okay. Thank you, Art. He says, what are your thoughts on objectivism? I'm going to be honest with you. This is how honest I am. I don't know what that is. Is that the thing about the universe having a consciousness? Let's find out together. What is objectivism? I think it's consciousness. The belief that certain things, especially moral truths, exist independently. Oh, I see. Okay. I don't believe that there are moral truths that exist independently. No, I think there are truths maybe. And I don't know. I don't really know. I would say that, I don't think morality is baked into the cake. I think we've evolved into morality as a means to survive and advance. But no, I don't think it's baked into the cake at all. I'd like to believe it was, but I see no evidence of that is what I would say. Okay. But thank you for that, buddy. Thank you for that super chat. I sure do appreciate that. All right. There's a speech. Do with it what you will. Let's watch this. So somebody on our channel over on the Discord said, Jaffe, watch this Asmongold clip of him saying what the fuck is wrong with Sony, and I guess he's talking about Lego. I have not watched it. I may agree with it 100%. People who are like, you're only watching this guy so you'll get people to click on it. Yeah. And because one of our guys in the chat said, Jaffe, can you watch this? Sure. All right, here we go. Stoicism, I'm all in. Love Stoicism. Love Stoicism. Okay, let's move forward. This is What the Fuck is Wrong with Sony from Asmongold Clips.
Oh, I did see this. In another black eye for Sony, Lego Horizon Adventures debuts to even less players than Concord.
Wait. I know what you're thinking. Who cares about a Lego game? But this is no ordinary Lego game, as this was marketed as a multi-platform triple-A game for a declining IP, and being sold for the exorbitant price of €70 or $60. But here's the catch. The game wasn't made by the legendary Traveller's Tales studio, known for their Lego games. Instead, Sony commissioned this to Guerrilla Games, which is the studio that made Killzone, and Studio Gobo, which specializes in developing AAA games. As you might suspect, the credits length for this game is insane, and even though the video is shorter than the infamous Concord one, there's still more than 800 people listed on a freaking Lego game, while receiving less reviews on the PlayStation Store than Concord, and even worse on Steam, where the game peaked at 1/4 of Concord's peak players. This game was marketed as a AAA, and most likely netted Sony a $100 million loss when you include the advertising budget.
Oh man, we didn't even know about this one. This is unbelievable. Look at these numbers. How many people do you think like lose their job over this shit? Can't wait for Lego Dark Souls? Yeah, maybe I might actually play it. Can you imagine in the alternate universe where Sony tried as hard to make Bloodborne happen as they do with Horizon, and how much better the entire world would be? We probably wouldn't even have world hunger anymore. And how many millions of dollars went into that game? Oh my God.
I mean, my reaction is I don't like Horizon. So I think he's probably right about that. We agree on that. I don't really know what they were thinking. I think Herman Holst has a hard-on for Horizon, and I understand it because he birthed that at his studio, and so he's going to have some bias towards it. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I haven't played it. I think Colin Moriarty on the latest episode of, I'm always forgetting the name of that new show they do with the guy from Easy Allies, where they bring on people to talk about individual games. Colin, I think this was the game Colin was talking on. I haven't listened to it. But I don't know if he liked it or not. But I looked at it. It visually looked really good. It looked like a fun, solid game. But I had no interest in it when the reviews came out and people said, it's okay. I'm cool. I had no interest in playing it, so I'm not surprised. Ghetto Summon Sign, right, there you go. Ghetto God says, I'm a Horizon fan and I'm not going to buy it. Might not even play it for free. I might play it for free, just to kind of see, I hear the graphics are really good. But yeah, I'm not, it's certainly not, I'm not, it's wrong to say I'm surprised that this and Astrobot is what they put out. That's what they had to put out. I'm assuming they had planned that this was going to be the Christmas of Last of Us Part 2 or The Last of Us multiplayer or whatever. And Concord, right? But the only games that they really got out there were two kind of kiddie games, and Astrobot obviously just won Game of the Year. But it hasn't sold that. It sold okay. It'll probably sell through the holidays, but I don't think it's ever going to be a 20 million seller or maybe even a 10 million seller. So, I don't know. The reason they give it so much time is because it's for the sales of the franchise. Yeah, I'm sure. But, I have no response to this other than, I agree with them. I hope people don't lose their jobs. And, it doesn't do much for me. It just kind of sits there. Okay. If we can move on, I want to show you a couple things, and then we're going to get to the top game of the decade. Okay, Gonzalez says, I played it. Well, I didn't play, but I did open the store page and read the description. Come on, has no one played it? Where's the actual sales? He didn't provide them. It's not my video. I don't know. My guess is it's not doing well. All you have to do is go back and look at this right here, which is the top sales for November. And this game came out in November, right? This was a November game or a December game? Let's find out together. Hang on. When did Lego... And also, as people were saying, Fortnite now has the lock on Lego. Their Lego shit is great right now. They're doing so many good things with Lego right now that most people are like, we got Lego at home pretty much. So this was out for 2 weeks before the doors shut. And I don't think, am I missing it? Let's see. I don't think it's is it in here anywhere? Horizon. Horizon, I just saw Horizon. No, that's Hogwarts. Horizon. Yeah, no, Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster or Lego Horizon are not in here. Scoozer Boot says, I played it, just very average for a Lego game, more simple than the usual. Okay. I got the Platinum, says Mecha. It was enjoyable, but not worth $60. Okay. All right, well, there you go. There you go. Okay, let us now take a quick look. Let me show you two things first that are just fun. You goddamn right. Look at this fucking thing. I wish the drones looked like this. Come on, man. You goddamn right. Come on, man. They should give us a fucking a drone that actually flies. And then look at this. You gotta look at this. Look at this fucking thing. Apparently, the gaming system built on an industrial robot arm. Some older industrial robots can be purchased for a few grand on the scrap market. One guy has 2 in their garage. Look at that shit. Now, I don't know how... I guess... I don't know what the game is. I mean, I don't think this is just any game. I mean, maybe it is. Is this like a first-person Wipeout, and they just kind of tied the motion to the of the controller? But... I mean, would it work with any game, or do they have to go in and like seats in those 4XD theaters really totally make this perfect for this? My guess is it's controller based, and then I don't know. I have no idea how they did it. But I would play the shit out of this if it didn't make me puke everywhere. This looks like a lot of fucking fun. It's like a lot of fucking fun. Well, the robot is a few grand according to this. Brian Mamo. I don't know if he's right or wrong, but he says some older industrial robots can be purchased for a few grand. Now, this one may not be one of those. I have no idea. Yeah, this is awesome, says Zeke. I bet the guy from Bungie has this. You goddamn right. Okay, what if the arm malfunctions? Yeah, that would suck. But I mean, you know, if it starts throwing you all over. There's that one ride that made me sick all the time at Legoland. If you ever rode that thing where you get in like the dragon's claw and it makes you sick, and you can set how aggressive you want it to be. Abdul says, which studio would you like to take on the Transformers license? I mean, I'm more of a G.I. Joe guy, but Transformers probably... I mean, hell, the Horizon guys would be great. If they could get out of their own fucking way trying to tell meaningful, deep stories and just make a rip-roaring action-adventure game, I think Guerrilla could knock the fuck out of a Transformer game. Absolutely. Absolutely. But you know what I've learned, you guys, though? If you really want to make a great video game, Transformers or not, you just got to follow your heart. It's that simple. You just got to follow your heart. And the money and the awards will follow. I've been told. It looks like fun. I agree, Anthony. It's too expensive to maintain, though. Yeah, I mean, there's truth in that. That's for fucking sure. So are pinball machines, man. Absolutely. What's your favorite female video game lead? Claire Redfield, probably. Okay. Let's move forward. I showed this to the stream earlier today for members. The past 10 Game of the Year award winners. And I had them vote on, out of these 10 games, which one do they think is their favorite of all time out of this list? So, not what they think moved the business forward or the industry, the art form, which of the 10 best games of the last 10 years they feel is their best game of the last 10 years. Here's the list, then we're going to go and I'll show you the results, okay? The Witcher, Wild Hunt 3 won it in 2015. 2016 went to Overwatch. Zelda Breath of the Wild 2017. 2018 God of War. 2019 Sekiro. 2020 Last of Us Part 2. 2021 It Takes Two. 2022 Elden Ring. 2023 Baldur's Gate. And 2024 went to Astrobot. Okay, now I am not going to show you the results yet. I'm going to look at them and I'm going to tell them to you 1, 10. I'm going to work 10 backwards is what I'm saying, okay? Out of the responses we got 41 responses. Thank you, members, for that. I really appreciate it. Let us start at the bottom. 3 of them... wait a minute. Okay, so, and there was an other. Some people could fill in other as well. Okay. So only one person gave it to Astrobot. That is tied. So there's 3 places for number 10. Astrobot, only one person. Elden Ring, only one person. I think, is that right? That can't be right. Wait a minute. It's a profit deal. Okay, no, that's not right. They fucked it up. They wrote in Elden Ring and then wrote an essay about Elden Ring. Okay, so Astrobot is at number 10, tied with Red Dead Redemption 2, which was a write-in at number 10. Okay. Now we go to 9.8% of the vote. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, got 4 people voting for it. 4 people voting for it. At 12.2%, The Last of Us Part 2 is tied with Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda. Oh, yeah. Okay. God of War is tied, I think. Nope. God of War is coming in right behind Breath of the Wild, or ahead of Breath of the Wild and Last of Us, 6 voters. And then the number 1 and number 2, where's Overwatch? Did nobody voted for Overwatch? Interesting. And then the number 1 and number 2 slots. Number 10 voters go to Elden Ring. That's number 2. And the number 1 game with 10 votes was The Witcher. Now, if I would have voted, it would have been tied because I would have voted for Elden Ring as well, but I didn't vote. I'll show it to you right here. But yeah, there you go. Let's see if I can. So at the very Elden Ring doesn't count because I'm going to put it, but it basically goes. I wish there was a better way to read this. Is there settings? Maybe a bar graph. Make this a quiz presentation. Let's see. All right. Well, I'll figure it out later. I'll put it up on the thing. But there. Oh, maybe it tells us here. Okay, yeah, this is much easier. It's much easier this way. Red Dead got 1. Elden Ring doesn't count. Astrobot got 1. Sekiro got 4. Zelda got 5. Last of Us got 5. God of War got 6. Elden Ring got 10 because the other one was for Elden Ring, and The Witcher got 10. I'm actually going to say, though, that Elden Ring wins because if I would have voted, it would have gone up to 11. So it's Elden Ring. What do you mean, why would I vote for Elden Ring? I didn't even play the expansion. It is my favorite game of all time is why. I don't understand your question. I haven't finished it. So, I don't want to play the expansion yet, but I've already killed the guy I need to kill to get to it though. You want my address for the grand prize from this morning? Did you win the grand prize? Yeah, you got to send me that. In fact, by the way, if anybody's watching, any of the card company wrote me and said, the 3 finalists, they'll send a copy to everybody. So if you were one of the finalists, and I have a list somewhere, hit me up on Discord and I'll get your address and we'll get it to you guys. But yes, Ravno, send me your address and I'll have them get it out. I do have to beat Elden Ring, I know, and I want to. I'm busy with a lot of other games to play. He hasn't even beat Elden Beast. What is that? What do I like about Elden Ring? No. What do I love about Elden Ring? What I love about Elden Ring is this. Well, first off, I love the lore. I love the world and the story and the fact that it's mostly all told just with the environment. And it also is so untold in a lot of ways that it leaves a lot to your imagination. And the best, there's a lot of great examples, but one of my favorite 2 examples are that one room when you climb that huge tree and there's just this guy sitting way off in the distance, like rotting, mummified in a chair, sitting way up on the fucking top of the I'm just like, what is that story? And the other one is those fucking trolls that are sort of enslaved and pulling the giant carts. Like, what the fuck is happening there? So I love all of that. But I also love that it is really hard, but it allows a player like me that isn't great at the moment-to-moment combat to find other ways to advance, whether it is simply grinding and leveling up my guy, whether it's finding an object that I can then use on an item that immediately makes me a badass, whether it's exploring and engaging my brain with other fun things to do and then inadvertently building my character up. I can go back to the guy that was giving me a problem. There is a sense of real immersion in that because it feels like my choices really matter and the world is interesting and it's dark and it's violent and it feels like a living, cool world. I fucking love it. And I do love Demon Souls. Bloodborne, I did finish Bloodborne and I fucking adore it. I absolutely fucking love it. But you know, Elden Ring, because it has that freedom, I think is much more, you know, powerful, much more impressive to me. Okay. And yeah, it's interesting. The story made no sense to me, says PG. Yeah. But that's, let me show you something real quick. Now, this that I'm about to show you should be disqualifying, but because the game is so good, I don't care. Now, this is for Bloodborne, but I have one of these for Elden Ring as well, which is this massive tome, and I've showed this before. And the world is so interesting in this game that I absolutely love having all of the lore and the shit to dive into and the mechanics and the art. It's just one of the best realized video game worlds I've ever gone into. And that's Bloodborne and Elden Ring. So it's just fucking delightful, man. I mean, it's so clever and so interesting. But I love them both. I love Demon Souls. Is it Demon Souls? Which is the one that came out on PS5? Yeah, Demon Souls. And I love the other ones. I love Bloodborne. I love Elden Ring. So, you know, I'm a fan, but they're really hard and they take a lot of fucking time. And there's a point where I'm just like, oh, I'm exhausted. I don't want to play anymore, or I want to play something new or blah, blah, blah. So, okay. Let me make something really clear to you guys. Do not forget but forget at your own peril. Yeah. I didn't play Dark Souls, played Demon Souls, Ryan. Tomorrow, 12:30, lunch with Jaffe, Cult of Calypso, all mods, and God of War members. Come on into the Discord, into the Cult of Calypso room. I'm not ragging on the Elden Ring sequel. I don't like multiplayer. It's a different game. It's not for me. I'm not ragging on it. I just don't want to play it. Lunch with Jaffe, 12:30. For those people, hopefully we'll see you and we'll eat. And we'll watch videos, we'll play some Discord games, maybe poker, whatever, shoot the shit, whatever you guys want to talk about. And then also coming up Monday at 10 a.m. All right, Anthony, cool. 10 a.m. Monday is the Indiana Jones The Great Circle Deep Dive with me and Victor Lucas. I do not know if Victor and I will, if he's not going to co-stream it, I may stream it live just for members and then make it free to everybody a week later. Or I may make it free to everybody. You know, I don't know yet. It depends what I'm doing for members that week. But this is happening Monday, and then Saturday is Pot and Popcorn. I'll get you the movie list tomorrow. It'll be everybody who's a member can get in for the second movie. First movie's Cult of Calypso, God of War members, and mods. That'll be happening as well. And I will follow my heart, Matthew. You goddamn right. But in the meantime, you fucking fucksticks, Bukkake and RPG, and if I missed a mod, I'm sorry, but thank you. I talked about Helldivers earlier in the stream. Thank you guys for making the show work. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the memberships. I may be streaming tonight, will depend. If not, I'll be back tomorrow morning with either a Jaffe stream or maybe maybe we'll do a Let's Read tomorrow, or we'll do something in the morning and something in the afternoon. I'm just not sure what yet. So, and of course, Superman comes out tomorrow, the trailer. I'm very excited for it. So it's going to be a good day. Hope you guys had a good day. Thank you guys, everyone. Be well, be safe. Have a great rest of your evening. And I'll see you soon. Bye, you guys.